Good afternoon, Captain and Honorary Captain Lauren Hinkle. For the toss. This is heads. This is tails. What is your choice? Heads, he calls. I'm going to let it hit the ground. Heads.
Robert.
Heads it is. Want the ball? Which school is going to defend this thing? You got it. Carolina has won the toss. They'll receive. All right, fellas, let's get it.
All right, here's the referee starting lineup brought to you by Dr. Henry Haley of the Eye Surgery Center, specializing in laser vision correction. Mike Carey, a 14-year veteran, will be the referee. You just heard from him. Garth Dealafease is the umpire. Head linesman is Dale Williams. Line judge is Walt Anderson. Field judge Dave Warden. Side judge Doug Toole. Back judge Keith Ferguson. Replay Dick Creed. Video Bill Tracy. Observer Dave Huck. And supervisor Dick McKenzie. We sure hope these refs have seen Dr. Henry Haley lately. Let's go back down to Jim Henderson now and Hokie Gajan.
All right, Larry, thank you very much. The Saints will kick it away. They will defend the goal to our right, and right away the Saints will get a big challenge, and that's defending the kickoff prowess of Michael Bates.
Well, the guy's been to 4 straight Pro Bowls as a return man. He was a bronze medalist in the 92 Olympics, and in the 200 meters, the guy can really fly. And this guy, he really scares you. So they're going to get a test right off the bat right here going against Michael Bates. He returned 195 yards against the Saints last season. So, I mean, I'm sure they've got a little chip on their shoulder right now. Got some new faces in there, a little bit of new blood. They want to get down there and get this thing started right.
He's returned 5 in his career for touchdowns. The record is 6. 4 people hold it, including Mel Gray, a former kick returner for the Saints. So Michael Bates is a very dangerous man, the brother of Mario Bates, who used to play for the New Orleans Saints, and in fact he wears the number 24 that Mario used to wear when he was a member of the Saints. Bates, as Hokie mentioned, had a 95-yarder in the final game of the 99 season for a touchdown against the Saints. He's returned one of 92 for a touchdown earlier this season against the Redskins. He stands back at the 2, Goen approaches the football, and we're underway. It's a line drive that helicopters down to Bates. 1 yard deep in the end zone. He'll bring it back to the 5, to the 10, to the 15. He drops the ball. The Saints have covered it. They've got it at the 21-yard line.
Man, what a way to start this thing off. Michael Bates comes out of there, been scared to death of the kickoff return and everything else. Comes out there and coughs it up on the first play.
And Freddie McAfee pays his first dividend as a Saint in his second game since returning.
Let's go downstairs to Kenny with an Beta Springs Water Saints sideline report. Kenny?
Very similar to what happened last year. This Panther team in this Superdome opening kickoff, they knocked it loose. The fumble. Tyrone Draper brings it in for a touchdown. Very, very unusual for this to open up the same way with this Panther team here in the Superdome, guys.
Freddie Thomas forced it. Freddie McAfee recovered it. Saints trying to do something with it. 1st and 10 from the Carolina 21. The Saints will open with 4 wide receivers and Ricky Williams behind Jeff Blake. On first down, handoff, Ricky Williams at the line of scrimmage, brought down after a short gain, tackled by the linebacker. And he is brought down by Lee Woodall, the former San Francisco 49er. And we've got a tussle going on down there now that people are going to try to break up. Andrew Glover's involved in it, along with one of the defensive backs. They look to be the cornerback, Doug Evans.
I think it was Jake Reed that, I'm not saying that he started this thing, but I think he was the first one that got in the little pushing contest.
3-yard gain for Williams, 2nd and a short 8 for the Saints from the 18-yard line of the Carolina Panthers. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. Backs offset behind Blake, who drops straight back, looks left, under pressure, rolls left. He drops the ball. It's on the carpet, and it's going to be covered by Carolina. There is a flag down at the 24-yard line, but Carolina has recovered the fumble by Blake. And it's picked up by Minter, Mike Minter, the strong safety, and now we await the call here.
Holding against the offense, number 65. Penalty is declined. First down, Carolina.
That would have gone against Chris Nioli, and so the Saints squander the early opportunity, and with 14:15 to play in the first quarter, it's a scoreless right defensive end for the Carolina Panthers, who forced the Blake fumble, and it was recovered at the 32-yard line, and that's where the Panthers will go to work. So an early exchange of turnovers, and the Saints certainly squandered a big opportunity early. 1st and 10 for the Panthers from the Carolina 32, 14:15 to play in the first quarter. Carolina touches it for the first time offensively, and they will start with wideouts left and right, and the backs now shift into an I behind Steve Berline. Hands off to the tailback, Biaka Batuka, upended at the line of scrimmage as Keith Mitchell comes up to get him, along with the corner, Kevin Mathis. And there's another fight downfield. Muhsin Muhammad and Fred Weary mix it up at the 40, so a very chippy football game here early going at the Superdome. Donald Hayes and Muhsin Muhammad are the wide receivers. Wesley Walls the tight end. Jones, Campbell, Garcia, Nesbitt, and Terry up in front of Steve Berline, trying to overcome a bout with the flu. Tim Biaka-Batuka is the tailback, and William Floyd the fullback. Loss of 1 on the play brings up 2nd and 11 from the Carolina 31. Muhammad goes in motion right to left. One back behind Berline, hands it off inside to William Floyd, and he's brought down after a short gain by Darren Smith. William Floyd, the fullback, seldom used as a ball carrier, had a season-high 4 carries last week against Seattle for 10 yards. The Saints defensively open with Howard, Hand, Glover, and Johnson up front. Keith Mitchell, Phil Clark, and Mark Fields the linebackers. Kevin Mathis and Fred Weary on the corners, and Sammy Knight and Darren Terry are the safeties. So a first 3rd down conversion opportunity here for the Panthers as they look at 3rd and 8 from the Carolina 34. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. William Floyd behind Berline. Saints loading up the line of scrimmage, coming after him. Berline drops. The ball is tipped, and it's incomplete. Tipped by one of the on-rushing Saint defenders, and it fell short of the wide receiver, Donald Hayes.
Well, the Saints kind of got out of this little bit of a bind. Got the turnover on the kickoff, and then come right back. Jeff Blake fumbles the ball. There's no damage done. So now let's just see what the Saints can do. They got to get out there and settle down. Last week when Jeff had a turnover early in the game, it settled him down. They talked to him on the sidelines. Let's see if he can do the same this week.
Here's the left-footed punter, Walter, putting his foot into it. Morton comes up and takes it at his 32. Some running room down the near sideline. He's up to about the 44-yard line. After a 34-yard punt and a 12-yard return by Morton, there's a timeout on the field with 12:40 to play. Quarter number 1, Panthers and Saints are scoreless. This is the Great Outdoors with Hokie contest. Watch for details at Napa Auto Parts and your Budweiser retailer on how you can win a hunting or fishing trip with me at the Beau Rivage Sportsman's Lodge. Saints begin this drive at their own 44, 1st and 10, 12:40 to play, quarter number 1. Panthers and Saints are scoreless after each has turned the ball over to the other. Here's Blake, play action on 1st down, rolls right, he's got a receiver, Glover breaks the tackle, Andrew Glover. It takes 3 Panthers to pull him down, short of the Carolina 35-yard line. 1st down, New Orleans.
Well, Jeff Blake may have found himself another go-to guy, and because Andrew Glover said last week he wanted to get a little bit more involved in the ball game, come out here, first completion of the day goes to Andrew Glover.
Eugene Robinson on the tackle. White, Morabito, Gilbert, and Williams up front. Dean Wells, Lester Townsend, and Lee Woodall are the linebackers. Davis and Evans on the corner. Minter and Robinson are the safeties. 1st and 10, New Orleans at the Carolina 36-yard line. Scoreboard in error. Horn in motion. Blake, handoff, Ricky Williams, and he's going to run over people inside the 30-yard line, dragging the strong safety Mike Minter with him. And it's a substantial gain on 1st down of 6 yards for Ricky Williams.
And let's go down to Kenny Wilkerson with the Beta Springs Water Saints sideline report. Kenny?
I want to tell you guys the first time back-to-back plays have occurred in this game so far without fights. They've been fighting almost every time they snap the ball. Also, we talked about it before the game, the work to Andrew Glover. First play, as you just said, okay, that's where Jeff Blake's looking. That's what he said he wanted to do, upstairs.
2nd and 4 from the 30. Another dose of Williams. He breaks it outside to the left this time. Runs through the tackle of the cornerback, Doug Evans, and has the 1st down.
That's a flag on the play, Jim. I think they'll call the Saints for holding.
I see it back at the 28-yard line. And that's the early indication. Jeff Blake congratulating Ricky Williams as he comes back to the huddle, but also showing his displeasure with the flag. Now the Panthers 22 in the NFL against the run this
Offense number
week.
77. Grabbing the defender's leg. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, that's against Willie Roaf. So it'll bring up 2nd and 14 from the 40-yard line, as the Saints have been their own worst enemies here early. The intensity level definitely has picked up. You can feel it and you can see it. And both teams are a little bit affected by that pressure here early. On 2nd and 14 from the Carolina 40. Glover goes in motion left to right. Backs are split behind Blake. He drops straight back. Going to throw a screen to Williams with a blocker out in front. Ricky Williams will be brought down short of the 35-yard line. for 4 yards. Well, the Saints trying to work a little bit more in the periphery than they have in recent weeks when they've been content to run the ball straight ahead. They throw to Williams in the flat. They've been running him outside. And now the Saints will look at a 3rd and 10 conversion possibility from the 36-yard line of Carolina. Panthers 22nd against the run, 12th against the pass, and 13th overall. They have sacked the quarterback 8 times coming into this game and have registered 3 interceptions. The Saints will stack 3 wide receivers to the right and 1 to the left. Pitch it to Williams. Williams might throw. Ricky Williams will throw. He's got Keith Poole, and Poole has it inside the 5.
Man, if Ricky throws that thing another yard further, it's a touchdown. Took everybody by surprise. I even thought Ricky was going to run it outside. He had so much room, but then you see Keith Poole streaking down the field. Ricky's arm's not what it used to be, but if he lays it out a little bit more, Keith catches that thing in stride, and he's in the end zone.
That's a 34-yard strike to Keith Poole as Ricky Williams shows that he's a triple threat for this football team. Poole had to wait for it to come down, but when it did, he had it at the 2-yard line, 1st and goal, New Orleans. From the Carolina 2, ends in tight, backs in an eye, Blake up under center, he drops the ball! He drops the ball, and the Panthers have recovered it. Oh my gosh! 1st and goal from the 2-yard line, and Jeff Blake came out of there too early. The ball fell to the carpet, and the Panthers were all over it. It took the official no time whatsoever, the referee, to signal Carolina ball.
Well, the Saints have blown 2 golden opportunities right here early in the ball game. The ball's on the 20-yard line after the opening kickoff return to the game, and right there they get the ball down on the 2-yard line and shoot themselves in the foot once again.
Tim Moravito recovers. 9:28 to play first quarter. Panthers and Saints are scoreless. Here are the Panthers, 1st and 10 from their own 3 after recovering the Blake fumble. 1 wide receiver, a tight end in motion, backs in an eye. Berline hands it off to Biakabatuka. He doesn't have much running room. Flag is thrown as he's stopped at the 5-yard line by Norman Hand.
That will be a holding call against Carolina.
Half the distance to the goal line. Will set the ball back about at the 1.5. You know, I spoke to Jim Haslett about this in his pregame show. Jeff Blake doesn't look like the same quarterback in the Superdome as he does on the road. It's like he's too hyper, too excited, too caught up in the moment.
Whatever the case may be, he needs to get that corrected because he's still got a long way to go in this season. And it's one thing that's imperative for Jeff to do is to show this hometown crowd, you know, something that we've seen on the road from him.
And that's command, poise,
and not turning the ball over,
which he has done today in the early going at the Carolina 32 and the Carolina 3. The Saints decline the penalty, which is a wise move. It would have only garnered them about 1.5 yards had they taken it. Instead, they will allow the 2-yard run and bring up 2nd and 8 from the Carolina 5-yard line. This number 1 Saint defense imploring the crowd to get behind them. They know they got the Panthers in the hole, and they want to get the ball back to their offense in good field position by stopping them right here. 2nd and 8 from the Carolina 5. Mangum, the tight end, in motion. Handoff. Biakabatuka drops back around the 2-yard line. Norman Hand came shooting through again.
Well, I tell you what, if the Saints can continue to get that surge from the defensive line, practically every snap so far this ball game, they've been black jerseys in the backfield. Keep that surge going, and Carolina will have a hard time getting their running game going today.
That's a loss of 3. This Carolina right side of their offensive line is somewhat suspect. 2 second-year men, Jamar Nesbitt and Chris Terry. It was Terry earlier guilty of the holding call that the Saints declined, and it was Jamar Nesbitt who was victimized there by Norman Hand, who's jumping up and down at the line of scrimmage in anticipation of this 3rd and 11 from the Carolina 2. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 back behind Berline. Berline is going to scramble around in the end zone. He's chased by Howard, and down he goes. At the 4-yard line, Darren Howard picks up the tackle, and there will be a gain of 2 on the play. He avoids the sack, but he will have to kick the ball away here, will the Carolina Panthers.
Well, Jim, you've heard me talk about it so much this season that, you always talk about a guy finishing the play. Darren Howard comes from his left defensive end spot to work all the way across the formation, gets the sack of Berline.
9 yards deep in the end zone stands Ken Walter to punt it away. Snap is back. Saints have a return on. This is high and short. Morton going to call for the fair catch and take it in at the 45-yard line of the Panthers. After a 41-yard punt, a timeout on the field with 7:38 to play quarter number 1. The Saints have started drives at the Carolina 21, the Saint 44, and now the Panther 45-yard line. They have not been able to capitalize on that excellent field position thus far. Let's see what they can do here. 1st and 10. Carolina 45-yard line. Horn in motion. Play action. Rolling left is Blake. With some room, he'll take off, but he's going to be hemmed in and dropped right around the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Mike Rucker, a defensive end.
Well, Rucker showed good speed right there. When Jeff came out, it looked like he had a lot of green to work with, but Rucker just comes flat down the line of scrimmage, and they headed him off at the pass and didn't let Jeff get going.
Only a 1-yard gain for Blake, who was so expert last week in running the football. Had 66 yards rushing against the Bears, and it was such a big factor in that victory a week ago. 2nd and 9 now for New Orleans from the Carolina 44. Horn in motion right to left, backs off set, pitch to Williams, running right, running room behind Naioli, looking for the block, he gets it, he has the first down, pushed out of bounds around the 33-yard line of Carolina. And boy, there's a lot of green carpet out in front of Ricky Williams when he turned the corner and only had the back of number 65 up in front of him.
That's a great feeling to have when you're a running back, when you're looking at an offensive lineman out there in open field and he's going against a cornerback, and all you can read is his name on the back of his jersey. Ricky did a nice job right there showing patience on the run, letting Chris make that block.
And it was against Eric Davis, the corner, who eventually strung the play out and pushed Williams out of bounds, but not before he picked up the first down at the Carolina 32. Backs are split. Play action. Blake stepping up in the pocket, throws, and it is incomplete. Thrown behind his intended receiver, Jake Reed, at the 15-yard line. Blake was feeling some pressure on the pass rush of Tim Morabito, the left defensive tackle. And so the Saints here face a 2nd and 9. The scoreboard's pretty much 2nd and 10, pardon me. 2nd and 10 from the 32-yard line. Split out wide to the right, it is Reed. Chad Morton checks in, and he is split out wide to the left. Blake's in the shotgun, fakes the handoff to Williams, has time, throws, and it's caught. Flag has been thrown. Reed slips the tackle, and he'll be forced out of bounds inside the 10-yard line at the 8. Let's see what the flag is going to be.
Well, the area that they threw it in is going to be offensive pass interference.
That's the call. And so the Saints continue to be their own worst enemy here with turnovers and penalties. Eric Davis on the coverage.
Offense, number 86. 10-yard penalty. Still, 2nd down.
Well, if you look at what the Saints have done up to this point, I mean, they've moved the ball effectively, running it, throwing it, and bringing Jeff out of there on some scrambles, things like that. But the turnovers and the penalties is what keeps setting them back.
And Reed very definitely did push Davis in the back as he made his break. And it was right in front of the official, who didn't hesitate in throwing the flag. And so the Saints have been set back to the 42-yard line of the Panthers, where it is 2nd and 20. Horn and Jackson wide right. Reed and Poole wide left. Poole comes in motion left to right. They fake the end around. Blake is going to run it himself, and Blake turns it upfield down to about the 38-yard line. A 4-yard pickup, and it'll bring up 3rd and long.
Well, the Saints are continuing to show a few new wrinkles every week. That play right there, I mean, it looked like, it caught Carolina completely off guard, but they closed the hole quickly and didn't let Jeff get going.
This will be 3rd and 16 for the Saints from the 38-yard line of the Panthers. Saints need some more yardage to give Doug Bryan a realistic chance at a field goal if they're not able to convert here. 4 wide receivers, movement up front, and there is contact as Eric Swan came across the line of scrimmage and engaged the Saints offensive lineman.
5 yards, still 1st down.
And the 10-year veteran, and they've got a lot of veterans on this defense, gives the Saints 5 more yards.
Jim, you notice here in the early part of the game, I mean, there's a lot of jawing going on around those guys. Been some pushing and fighting and everything else. Maybe the Saints are still holding a grudge for that final game of last season or whatever, but I mean, up to this point, there shouldn't be any reason for all this pushing and shoving going on unless that is the case.
Could very well be. 3rd and 11 for the Saints from the Carolina 33. Morton checks in. He's in the slot left and goes in motion to the right. Blake from the shotgun rolls left, throws a little shovel pass to Morton, and he's collared immediately by Sean Gilbert. No gain on the play. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
From the heart of the Crescent City, this is WWL New Orleans, an Entercom communication station, AM 870, the news, talk, and sports leader.
The umpire, Garth DeFelice, got caught in a little post-play action down there and went down in the pile of Saint offensive players and Carolina defenders, but no flag. And now Doug Bryan will come on to attempt a field goal of 51 yards.
Well, I'm not sure how much longer the officials are going to let this go without throwing some type of flag.
And Toby Goen calls timeout as the clock is running down.
Timeout, New Orleans. They're first.
So that's somewhat surprising. You ought to be able to get your field goal team on and ready to kick a field goal before the play clock runs out in that situation. But the Saints were in danger of not being able to do so, so they called the timeout with 4:02 to play in the first quarter of a smart. A 51-yard field goal attempt upcoming by Doug Bryan. His longest of the season is 48. He had a 52-yarder block, and this one was tipped at the line of scrimmage and bounced through the end zone.
Well, that's the problem you get with those long field goals. You got to line drive the ball more than just chip it off the ground. And one of the Panthers got a hand up in there and just tipped the ball at the line of scrimmage.
Checking to find out what Panther did get a hand on it. The early indication is that it was Eric Swan. But there was some pressure in the middle of the line by the Panthers, and this one had no chance. It hit about the goal line and bounded through. In their first two series, Carolina has rushed 5 times for 3 yards, attempted one pass that fell incomplete. So the Saints with all the better of the opportunities in the early going, but no points on the board. 1st and 10 from the Carolina 41, their best field position of the day. Play action, flag has been thrown. Quick out is thrown to Hayes, breaks the tackle of Weary. Perry comes over along with Fields to drop him short of midfield, but there was a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Keith Mitchell is pleading his case to the officials. So apparently this will go against New Orleans offsides. And that'll be the call. Well, the energy on both of these teams' parts is clearly in evidence. A lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties.
Number 97, penalty decline, second down.
In the early going, 3 turnovers thus far. 2 of them authored by the Saints. And it'll bring up second and a long one from midfield. Hayes is split out wide to the left. Moose and Muhammad wide right. Backs split behind Berline. Steve Berline drops straight back under pressure, guns it downfield for Walls, and it's incomplete. Contact with Darren Smith, and Walls ought to get the call here. He looked to be clearly pushing off the linebacker, Smith, who was running with him down the seam. The push will go against Carolina.
Well, that's the matchup they want to get. They want to get Wesley Walls going down the seam against the Saints linebacker.
Offense, number 85, 10 yards, second down.
I mean, Wesley is such a threat anywhere on the field, but especially when you can get him to bust a seam in any kind of 2-deep coverage. I mean, the guy has a long career reception of 54 yards, so he's not just a guy that catches the ball over the middle, hook routes, things like that. He can stretch a defense.
He's caught passes in 82 consecutive games as Wesley Walls, the 12-year veteran out of Ole Miss, who spent a very short but productive career of 2 seasons in a New Orleans Saints uniform. 2nd and 11 from the Carolina 40. Wideouts left and right, backs offset, Walls goes in motion. Here's Berline under pressure. He throws it up in the air incomplete. He was dropped by Darren Smith, put up a wobbly effort in the direction of Biaka Batuka, but Smith came up the middle untouched and buried Berline as he got the pass away.
You're talking about a guy blitzing, coming scot-free. I mean, there was nobody between Darren Smith and Steve Berline. Berline did all he could just to get the ball out of his hands.
Steve Berline was sacked 51 times a year ago and underwent more off-season surgeries than Cher. 5 of them last year because he is a pretty good target. You know where he's going to be most of the time.
Pretty well. He's going to be in that pocket.
3rd and 11 from the Carolina 40. Saints loading up their blitz package again. 3 wide receivers. Here they come up the middle. It's picked up. Burline looks for the screen. He won't be able to set it up, and down he goes. Leroy Glover has him back at the 25-yard line.
Leroy Glover just never stops. I mean, the guy is coming at you every play. He constantly just keeps moving. Always finishes the play. Records his 7th sack of the season.
A loss of 13 as Leroy Glover, the NFC Defensive Player of the Week a week ago, continues to do his thing, and he victimized that young right guard, Jamar Nesbitt. The Saints had a twist on, and Glover drops Burline. And here's Walter to punt it away again, hanging it high, a wobbly effort. Morton with some running room from his 38 to the 40, up to about the 42-yard line. A 35-yard punt, and a very short return for Chad Morton. So again, the Saints will have good field position. Can they get anything going offensively that they can sustain without a turnover or a costly penalty?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, they've been able to do something. They've moved the ball very effectively, but I mean, it's like every time they play in the dome, this is when they decide that they're going to bring out the turnover bucket.
1st and 10 from the 43-yard line of New Orleans. 2 wide receivers to the right. Pitch it in that direction to Williams. He cuts back against the grain, and he'll be brought down around the 44-yard line. Give him a couple on the carry.
Well, the Saints are doing a little bit more tossing the ball this week, stretching it to the outside. I kind of figured that after the success Ricky's had the last 3 weeks of just pounding the ball between the tackles, but apparently the coaches have seen something that they like, and they think they can take advantage of Ricky's speed to the outside, because you know once he gets his shoulders turned and get going upfield, he'll give a guy a mouthful of knee pads to eat.
38-year-old Reggie White in on the tackle from his left defensive end position. 2nd and 8 from the New Orleans 44. Pool in motion, play action Blake. He stops, sets up the screen to the near sideline, and it's incomplete. He threw it too tall for Ricky Williams. Dropping off in coverage was Mike Rucker, who had read the screen and from his defensive end position disrupted the play.
Well, Rucker's a guy in Nebraska, big, tall defensive end that can run it. Earlier in the game, he did the same thing. Jeff Blake rolled out of there. Looked like he had running room, and Rucker flattens down the line of scrimmage and gets out there to clog up the lane. It was a nice play on Rucker's part.
Yes, it was. So the incompletion brings up 3rd and 8 from the New Orleans 44. Smith and Williams offset behind Blake. 2 wideouts to the right and 1 to the left. That's Reed. Jeff Blake, who's been shaky thus far. Play action, rolls left, stops, looks long, can't find anybody. Harris in the pocket on the run. He throws it downfield. Caught by Horn. Out of bounds around the 35-yard line of the Panthers, and that's a 1st down.
Well, that's one of the one plays right there where Jeff Blake kept moving around, buying himself some time. He found Joe Horn. Joe comes worked all the way across the field, found the dead hole for Jake to throw him the ball. Got it, and the Saints continue on this little roll right here that they got, gets another 1st down.
That's a 21-yard strike. The Panthers came into this game not having surrendered a pass of over 20 yards and also having given up only 1 touchdown pass this season. So they're stingy in the aerial game. 1st and 10 New Orleans from the Carolina 35. Ricky Williams straight ahead. Woodall's got him along with a couple other linebackers. A short gain on the play as we are in the final 2 minutes of a very eventful and yet scoreless first quarter. Lee Woodall is a former San Francisco 49er. They've got a lot of transplants here. Reggie White now joining them, the former Packer. Jay Williams at the other defensive end position is a former Ram. They've got Eugene Robinson, whom they brought out of a short retirement, the former Falcon who plays for them at free safety. 2nd and 8 from the 33 of the Panthers. Straight ahead, Williams, he breaks the tackle. Williams still going inside the 20 and down to the 15-yard line.
God, I just like the way he's running the ball right now, Jim. He's been doing this for really all season long. He just kind of had to get out of the game plan earlier in the season, you know, in the second half. But here for the last 3 weeks, Ricky's running as hard as I've seen him since his days back in college. I mean, he's really taking it to the defense.
That's an 18-yard gain. Middle linebacker Lester Towns, the only rookie who starts for this team, is shaken up and slow to come back to the huddle. And you're right, Ricky seems to have a lot of life in those legs today. That's 6 carries for 43 yards as he bids to go over the 100-yard mark for the 4th consecutive game. That would be a Saints record. 1st and 10 New Orleans from the Carolina 15, minute to play first quarter. Scoreless game. Ends in tight with the exception of Horn, who goes in motion right to left. Blake hands off to Williams, right side, trying to turn the corner. He won't get there.
that's
out of bounds by Mike Minter.
That's one thing about Ricky. I mean, the guy will stay on the field to play. He gets over there to the boundary. He's not willing to take the cheap thing and just step out of bounds. He's going to deliver some kind of blow to a defensive back or a linebacker when he gets over there on the boundary. And where that really comes into effect is late in the game. These guys get tired of taking that pounding in the secondary.
That was the strong safety Mike Minter who absorbed the blow. Williams was able to pick up 3 yards. But that play didn't have a great deal of chance of going anywhere because it was well defensed by the Panthers. 2nd and 7 from the Carolina 12. Blake, handoff. Williams breaks the tackle. He's at the 5 and down to the 4. It'll be 1st and goal, New Orleans again.
I hate to keep saying it, but Ricky looks like he's on a roll right now. And I guarantee you, when this drive is over with, he's going to go back to the bench. He's going to tell Mike McCarthy, keep feeding it to me. I've got it going today.
He certainly seems to be doing just that, and the Saints will choose not to run another play. As the first quarter comes to a conclusion, they'll be knocking on the door in the second 15 minutes. After 15 here in the Dome, it's the Panthers and Saints scoreless. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
And Tours has your official Saints travel packages for all your away games. Packages include discounted airfare, hotel, and game tickets. Prices to Atlanta start as low as $119 per person. Saints Fan Tours, 1-8778-SAINTS.
Jim, how about this for some first quarter stats? The Saints, 124 yards total offense. Carolina, -1.
I'd call that dominance.
I would say so. I think Carolina's realizing right now why the Saints are number 1 in the league through 6 weeks of the season.
Although as yet the scoreboard doesn't reflect that dominance. It's scoreless on the first play of quarter number 2. 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. The Saints move it left to right as we view it. Ends in tight, backs in an eye. Blake hands off Williams straight ahead down to around the 2. It'll bring up 2nd and goal. Well, last week the Saints turned to Ricky Williams down around the goal line, and he produced his first rushing touchdown of the season on a dive from just about this spot on the field. They will mark the football at the 3-yard line, and it will be 2nd and goal from there. Same aggregation of players. Backs are split behind Blake, and Gilbert jumps across the line of scrimmage. Both teams point at one another. Gilbert made contact. We'll see what the official has to say as they are going to huddle back at the 15-yard line. But not for long. Offsides, Carolina.
Well, I think one of the Saints players did move, but I think he was induced whenever Carolina came across the line of scrimmage.
Neutral zone infraction on the defense, number 94. Jumped into the neutral zone, causing an immediate reaction by number 77.
And when Sean Gilbert moves, you notice it. That is a big young man. Listed at 318. I don't know if he's that low. They will mark it officially at the 1-yard line, where it will be 2nd and goal. Ends in tight. Handoff Williams. Williams to the goal line. He's in.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Got in there, got those pads right down in behind the right side of the offensive line. It hit it. And Jim, for the rest of the season, Domino's Pizza will give you $6 off the regular menu price on your pizza order on Monday. Got to call Domino's Pizza.
A 2-yard touchdown by Ricky Williams, who bowls his way in. Contact came immediately, but with his strength, he was able to burrow under some people and break the plane of the goal line. And so the Saints are able to capitalize finally, knocking on the door. And with Toby going to hold, Doug Bryan comes on to supply the extra point. Snap, placement, kick, and a 7th point for the Saints with 14-13 to play in quarter number 2. Our score is New Orleans 7 and Carolina nothing. This is the New Orleans 58 yards in 9 plays and 3 minutes and 53 seconds, capped by a 2-yard touchdown plunge by Ricky Williams, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. Saints take a 7-0 lead. Going, kicks it away, the dangerous Michael Bates from his 3 to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, and the Saints swarm over him there. He'll be dropped at the 21.
Allen Evers said he had a few little tricks up his sleeve this week he was going to work. Up to this point, it's worked very good on their only 2 returns at this point.
Just a 20-yard return, and one of the guys in on the tackle, Hope, Corey Terry, the newest Saint, a linebacker.
Well, they filled him in there in Dante Jones' role, the one that Dante the same position he had been playing, and he's made his presence known early on. You know, Jim, you were talking about Ricky's touchdown. That's his first ever touchdown in the Dome.
Wow. First and 10 for the Panthers from their 22. Two wideouts to the left, one to the right. It's Biakabatuka coming out of the backfield, which is now vacant. Steve Berline, three-step drop, looks right, throws short, caught by Walls, up to the 32-yard line. He'll be just short of the first down. A 9-yard pickup.
I don't think Steve Berline is going to get himself into panic mode right now. He knows they struggled in the first quarter. What he's going to do right now is just get settled in, go to the confidence guy, who is Wesley Walls, who now has a reception in the 83 straight ball games.
Exactly so. Yeah, Berline has been around a long time, 14 years out of Notre Dame. This is 15. He's been a Raider, a Cowboy, a Cardinal, and a Jaguar. He won't be rattled by an early 7-0 deficit. 2nd and 1 from the Carolina 31. Walls comes in motion, backs off set. Handoff Biakabatuka. He slips a tackle in the backfield, but not a second one. Leroy Glover just drops him in his tracks.
Boy, I tell you, did you see just that flash of black out of there? Leroy Glover's playing along the offensive line, keeping his balance, and all of a sudden, when he saw the crease, he just bolted out of there. He looked like a sprinter coming out of there, getting into the backfield to get Biakabatuka.
And with about 2 steps, he was at full speed. He hit you like a linebacker that would be coming up to plug that hole. Instead, it was the defensive tackle with his great explosion just dropping Biakabatuka at the 29-yard line of Carolina, where it is 3rd and 3.
Leroy Glover's first 3 steps is as good as there is in the league.
Hayes is put out wide to the right. Wide to the left, it's Isaac Bird. Muhammad is in there as well, and Berline's going to call timeout and head to the Carolina sideline.
Timeout, Carolina. They're first.
Looked to be a misalignment. And so we'll take the timeout as well with 12:35 to play in the second quarter, and the Saints on top of the Panthers 7-0. This is the New Orleans
Saints tradition. Turn down the sound on your TV. Turn up the Saints radio network. Jim Henderson Hokie Gajan, Kenny Wilkerson. Next Sunday at noon, the Saints take on the Atlanta Falcons. Turn down the sound on the TV. Turn up the Saints radio network.
First 17 and a half minutes of football. Carolina has not yet picked up a first down. On 3rd down here, Berline will throw a short pass to try to get it, and Floyd is dropped, but a flag has been thrown.
Well, they're going to call illegal procedure on the left tackle of Carolina. He was rocking back in his stance, getting ready to get back here, trying to take on Joe Johnson.
False start. Offense, number 75.
That's Clarence Jones, the 10-year veteran who used to man the right tackle position for the Saints, and not in a very distinguished manner, I might add. He's now at left tackle for the Panthers, matched up against Joe Johnson, as Hokie said.
On the game clock. Thank you.
The clock will be restored to 12 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in quarter number 2, and now it is 3rd and 8 for the Panthers. Again, still looking for their first down of this game.
Jim, up to this point, this Saints defense today has played very much like the defense of the late 80s and early 90s that the Saints had.
It's Bird and Hayes split out wide to the right. Musa Muhammad wide left. One back, that's Floyd behind Berline, who's up under center. Berline, 5-step drop, and he is going to be sacked again and again. It's Leroy Glover.
The guy is all over the place. That's his second sack and a couple of tackles for losses right now. I mean, Leroy is not letting up after what he accomplished last week.
Leroy Glover with his 7th and 8th sacks of this season as the Saints run their total to 21. They have not provided an answer for the quick pass rush of Leroy Glover. With 12:25 remaining in quarter number 2, here comes Walter on to punt it away again. He hangs it high. Morton is going to take it in. He's going to drop the ball. He should never have tried to run that back. It should have been a fair catch. He muffs it, and Carolina's going to have it at the New Orleans 43-yard line. You could see it. He should never have tried to take that in. He didn't have enough running room nor blockers in front of him.
No, I needed to put his arm up in the air and just let him know I'm going to take it right here. I think he was trying to make a little bit too much happen. A rookie mistake, things like that will happen in a game when the crowd is energized like this and you got your adrenaline going. You kind of want to get on the big play act too.
There were 6 Panthers surrounding Morton as he brought in the ball. Chris Hetherington was the first one. And it looked like Morton took his eye off the football because of the onrushing Panthers. He muffs it. Panthers have it at the New Orleans 43-yard line. As the Saints turn it over for the 3rd time in this game. But the Panthers have yet to generate any offense. 1st and 10 from the New Orleans 43. Vacant backfield for Berline. 5-step drop. Saints rush 4. Berline throwing down the seam. Leaping grab by Walls is a beauty at the 17-yard line. Operating against Darren Smith, who says he was pushed off.
You know, that's the whole thing about a guy like Wesley Walls, is he's going down the seam. Darren Perry's got good coverage on him. Darren Smith. He's got good coverage on him, trailing him right, but the ball is thrown just to the perfect spot. And, I mean, you're defenseless as a linebacker because you can't get your hands to it. Wesley reaches up and snatches it.
Those two have been doing it for a long time together, and Walls, prior to last week, said, I need to be more involved. Berline listens. 1st and 10 from the 16-yard line of New Orleans. Saints leading 7-0. 11:31 to play, quarter number 2. Berline drops. Lots of time this time. He'll run up in the pocket being chased, and he'll be dropped by Keith Mitchell. The ball comes free and is fumbled out of bounds, but down by contact is Berline around the 17-yard line.
When Berline comes out of that pocket and starts running, it looks like he's pulling a plow behind him.
The years have taken their toll on Steve Berline, the 14-year veteran out of Notre Dame. That was a beautiful catch on replay as we look at it again by Wesley Walls.
Well, that's the thing that he can do. I mean, he is so good at that, you know, he's one of those kind of guys that, with the hands that he's got, if he can touch it, he is usually going to catch it.
That will be registered as a sack. Mitchell gets it. It's the 3rd of the day for the Saints. 3rd and 11 from the New Orleans 17. Muhammad in motion right to left. 3-step drop. Berline pulls it back down, throws it short, and it might have been intercepted by Mathis. Yes, it was. He took it right out of the hands of the intended receiver, Hayes.
Got into the wrestling contest down there, see who was going to gain control of the football, and Kevin Mathis won that battle, yanked it out.
And Berline, with his helmet off, has to be helped to his feet as he jogs to the Carolina bench. The defense rises up big time once more.
These guys are fired up. I don't know if it's being at home, this crowd behind the way they are, but I'm telling you, that bunch down there is on fire.
They are, aren't they? The Saint defenders, the Saint defensive backs have been so much more aggressive this season. They're playing so much more tightly than they ever have before. A timeout on the field, 10:47 to play, quarter number 2. Saints lead the Panthers 7-0. This is the New Orleans from their 12-yard line after the Mathis interception is first as a Saint. Blake takes the football, hands it off to Williams into a pile. Not much there. Woodall on him immediately. Give him a yard. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
From the heart of the Crescent City, this is WWL New Orleans, an Entercom communication station, AM 870, the news, talk, and sports leader.
Steve Berline requiring medical attention on the Panther bench after sustaining a bloody nose. Jeff Lewis gets up immediately and starts warming up. Doesn't appear to be serious. 2nd and 9 from the New Orleans 13-yard line. Horn in motion left to right. Play action rolling right is Blake, and he throws it away. He was under a lot of pressure as the defensive tackle Sean Gilbert was in his face immediately.
Well, Sean Gilbert didn't get fooled by the little bootleg action right there. Jeff does a smart thing. Just throw it away. Don't try and force something downfield, or don't throw it in where you could have opportunity of getting the ball intercepted. Let's just do the smart thing, throw it away. Now we'll line up at 3rd down.
Blake is 4 out of 7 for 45 yards. Williams coming into this possession, 10 carries for 57 yards, and a 34-yard pass completion that he threw as a Saint. 3rd and 9 from the New Orleans 13 from the shotgun. Blake at the 5, throws it over the middle. It is caught by Horn, but he's going to be wrestled down at the 20-yard line, short of the 1st down. Brought down by Eugene Robinson after a 7-yard gain.
Well, Joe was looking to make a little something extra after the catch right there, but you got to give the Carolina secondary credit on that and making the nice open field tackle, because Joe did have a little room to operate in. He just couldn't break the tackle.
Well, the Panthers have changed their punt returner. Michael Bates has been doing that job. Now it's Ihani Uwezike, the former 49er. Bates had really been quite indistinguished in that role, and so he's been replaced by Uwezike, standing at the 35 of the Panthers. He calls for a fair catch and makes it back around the 31. Excellent pressure downfield by the Saints' Freddie Thomas. After a 49-yard punt with no return and timeout on the field, 9:17 to play, quarter number 2. Saints on top of the Panthers 7-0. This is the New Orleans Saints radio. Jeff Lewis is the new quarterback for the Panthers. Kenny?
Let's take a B Springs Water sideline report. Kenny Wilkerson.
Yeah, very quickly. Burline's down there working George Seifert trying to get back in the game, too. Jim, take it.
1st and 10 from the 31-yard line of the Panthers. Jeff Lewis, at least for the moment, is the new quarterback for Carolina. He throws a short pass to Floyd, who juggles the ball, and it's going to be ruled incomplete. Tried to make a diving reception at the 30. Actually, he's better off having dropped it, as it'll come back to the line of scrimmage. Otherwise, it was going to be a loss of a yard or two on the play.
Well, Jeff Lewis has had such limited playing time in his entire NFL career. There's really no book on the guy, so nobody knows what to expect from him right now. But that first pass was just something I'm sure they wanted to start off real safe. Let's not put any pressure on him too early.
Build some confidence. Jeff Lewis, the longtime backup with the Broncos, 4th-year man out of Northern Arizona. 2nd and 10 from the Carolina 31. Saints are blitzing. Lewis in a crowd, throws it. Weary drops it, but a flag has been thrown. Weary had the interception in his hands at the 40. He went over the top of Hayes, and we're going to see what this call is going to be. It's going to be something between Hayes and Weary at the 40-yard line. Going to go against...
So far this season. I mean, it's been so many times when it was just a cushion on the outside, giving up the easy little out routes and short receptions. I mean, now they're up there. I mean, and that's one of the consequences that you'll have to take is a few illegal contact calls.
Mark Fields buried Lewis as he got rid of the football, and back in the lineup now is Steve Burline. 1st and 10 from the 36. Burline hands off Biaka Batuka, wrestled down at the line of scrimmage. That looked to be hand. Oh, it's Darren Howard. You're right, pinching in from his left defensive end position. Just a 1-yard gain on the play. Boy, this Saint defense, you could hardly have played better in the first half than these guys have done thus far with 8:48 to play in quarter number 2. Saints leading 7-0.
I tell you, this is a fun defensive team to watch on this particular Sunday. Those guys are flying around.
The Saints have turned the ball over 3 times already in the first half, but the Panthers have been able to do nothing with it. Here's Burline throwing a short pass incomplete, intended for Muhsin Muhammad, and ever cognizant of how much these Saints safeties are flying to the football, he took his eye off it because he knew he was about to get a snootful, probably of Sammy Knight. Kevin Mathis up there as well. On the tight coverage, Mathis has an interception, his first as a Saint earlier in the quarter. 3rd and 9. The Panthers have not converted 4 previous 3rd down opportunities. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. Floyd behind Burline. Saints coming up to the line of scrimmage. How many will they bring? Just 4. Burline steps up, double pumps, and it's knocked away, incomplete. Weary again on the tight coverage of Isaac Bird.
Man, Fred Weary has been everywhere this season. I mean, he had 11 tackles last week against Chicago. I mean, the guy is playing as good as any corner that the Saints have had in a long, long time.
And it seems to become infectious on this secondary now that both Mathis and Weary just are not going to give guys room to breathe as they come off the line of scrimmage. And a very busy Ken Walter comes on once more to kick it away. Hangs it high. Morton, what will he do this time? Calls for the fair catch and takes it in at the 22-yard line.
Oh, more pushing and shoving going on.
It's quickly broken up, and this is a battle of 2 teams knowing that they're playing for perhaps the rest of this season, even though it's a very early juncture of it to get back to 500.
And let's go down to the sidelines with Kenny Wilkerson for Beta Springs Water Saints sideline report. Kenny?
Yeah, guys, what just happened just now is just a carryover from the similar things that's happening with Fred Weary. Fred Thomas and Robert Wilson were working Bates all the way down the field. Nothing but frustration on Bates on there. Why they haven't thrown flags in this game on both sides, I have no idea. But it is very, very physical down here. Jim?
Michael Bates is also a very effective kick coverer in addition to being kick returner. 1st and 10 from the 23. Handoff Williams, not much right. Cuts it against the grain. He's up to around the 30-yard line. That's a pickup of 7 on a 1st down carry by Ricky Williams.
Boy, Ricky is just using his eyes and using his blocker so much better now. He's becoming more and more patient. He's getting in behind those black jerseys and just letting those guys feed him to where he needs to go and then finding daylight and popping out of there on a few runs.
Sean Gilbert removed. Al Lucas comes on. Lee Woodall was in on that tackle. 2nd and 3 for New Orleans from their 30-yard line. They move it left to right as we view it. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Ricky Williams running right, and he is going to be hit by Robinson in the backfield, forced to the sideline, and driven out of bounds for a loss on the play. Eugene Robinson, 16 years out of Colgate, the former Atlanta Falcon who ended a brief retirement and returned to the Panthers for the chance to play for the $440,000 minimum that he would get. A loss of 1 on the carry. Hard to fool that guy. 3 times to the Pro Bowl. 3rd and 4 now for the Saints from their 29. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. That's Joe Horn. Blake in the shotgun, sends Williams in motion. There's no one behind Blake, who throws, and it's bounced up into the air and incomplete. Hit at the line of scrimmage, I believe, by Eric Swan. The ball bounced straight up into the air, but none of the Panthers were recognizing that fact, and it fell to the turf incomplete. That could have been very, very dangerous.
Well, and it's a fortunate thing they were only rushing 4 people right there, because nobody saw the ball really get knocked around. All the secondary guys are back there in coverage, and when that thing pops up at the line of scrimmage, it's always scary.
So on comes Toby Goen to punt it again. And again, it's Owezike back around his 25. Snap is back to Goen. Very, very high. Somewhat short. Owezike hasn't signaled for the fair catch and doesn't. He's buried. Very fortunate was Owezike, because he easily could have given up that football. There were just black shirts around him, and he's dropped immediately at the 28-yard line. There's a flag down back at the New Orleans 22.
They're going to call the Saints cover team holding.
It was a 42-yard punt with no return if it stands, and it will
on the
not.
kicking team, number 28, 10-yard penalty, repeat, 4th down.
Holding on Chris Oldham is detected. He pleads his case to the official on the, and there is nothing for the Saints to do but retreat to the huddle and do it again. 6:59 to play, quarter number 2. Saints on top by a score of 7-0. They have survived 3 turnovers, have taken the ball away from the Panthers twice. The Saints defense has been absolutely stifling here, but the Saints offense should at least have another 7 and maybe another 10, 14 on the board. Now Goen will have to do it again, standing at his 5. Owezike back at the 35 of the Panthers. Snap is back, and this is a line drive. Owezike has some running room from the 41 up the far sideline into Saints territory, pushed out of bounds by Hauser at the 45-yard line of New Orleans.
Well, Toby hit that line drive punt right there, and I mean, it doesn't give your cover team an opportunity to get down there and really do much.
It was a 41-yard line drive punt and a 15-yard return, and the Panthers, with 6:51 to play here in the second quarter, will begin this drive at the New Orleans 45-yard line. Panthers lead this series 6-4. The Saints have won the last 2 in New Orleans, and Hokie has mentioned the last game of last season in which the Panthers won 45-13 as a possible incentive for this Saint team. The Panthers were in a situation at that time when they had to win by as many points as possible for an opportunity to gain a wild card berth, and with the score 31-0 in that game, they were still throwing the football against the Saints, which is what they had to do, and they still were unable to overcome that deficit, and the Cowboys went to the playoffs with the Saints remembering. They moved the ball back to the 48-yard line now, detecting that he stepped out of bounds earlier. Here's a quick throw over the middle to Wesley Walls. Keith Mitchell has him around the 42-yard line. A 6-yard gain for Wesley Walls. Well, Walls was here at the time that Irv Smith was also here, and the Saints were going with a lot of 2 tight ends, and Wesley Walls said, I want to go somewhere where I'm the number 1 guy. The Saints made the decision that they wanted to stay with Irv Smith, a former number 1 draft choice. Walls went to the Panthers. Many Pro Bowls later, he's still a very productive tight end. Irv Smith never fulfilled his potential, left to go to the 49ers as a free agent, and is now out of football. Those are the kind of mistakes you don't recover from very often in personnel. 2nd and 4 from the 42-yard line of the Saints. Here's Berline throwing another short pass to Floyd, and William Floyd is brought down at the 32-yard line of New Orleans. That'll be a 1st down.
Well, that seems to be what the Panthers are trying to do right now. Let's just go with the 3- and 5-step drop so that Steve Berline doesn't keep taking a beating back here in the pocket, because when he's going back on his deeper drops, he's getting a lot of pressure in his face and he's getting hit, and Leroy Glover is still racking up some sacks.
10-yard gain. Steve Berline has been bloodied but unbowed here in the first half. Forced to the bench for a while with a bloody nose. Relieved by Jeff Lewis momentarily. There's not a tougher customer in the NFL at quarterback, and Berline's back in there now. 1st and 10 from the Saint 32-yard line. Berline under a blitz that's picked up by the Panthers. Going to throw into the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for Hayes. Weary had him around the 5-yard line. The Panthers did a good job of picking up that Saints blitz, but still Berline had to hurry the pass just a little bit.
And that's what I was just saying. Whenever he takes that deep drop, he is getting somebody in his face, and he's always getting pressure. And Steve Berline does the veteran thing right there. He aims the ball out of bounds and sends it down into the end zone.
That was William Floyd who picked up the blitz of Mark Fields. As a 7-year veteran out of FSU, the former San Francisco 49er does a good job in pass protection. 2nd and 10 from the New Orleans 32. 4 wide receivers. Berline, here comes Knight off the corner. He throws it underneath. It's caught by Muhammad, and Muhammad inside the 25-yard line. That'll be close to the first down. Looks to be just short.
There's another veteran move by Berline. He doesn't panic when he sees the safety coming untouched. He knows what he's got, and as long as his receiver reads the hot route, dumps the ball off to him in the middle of the field.
Sammy Knight coming off the corner, and that's the area vacated by his blitz. Muhammad takes the strike by Berline, and it brings up 3rd and 2 after the 8-yard gain at the New Orleans 24-yard line. Muhammad is split out wide to the right. It's Hayes wide left. Backs are split behind Berline. Berline puts Biaka Batuka in motion to the right, looks left, throws the slant, caught by Hayes. Hayes inside the 5 to the goal line, touchdown.
The flag comes in late, Jim. I'm not sure what they're going to say. I don't know if they're going to call pushing off, if they're going to call
pushing
Mathis.
Against Carolina. And so this one will come back.
Big break right there. Big break for the Saints.
Hayes pushed off Weary to get inside.
Offense, number 81, 10 yards, 3rd down.
Actually, that was Kevin Mathis he pushed off against Jim.
Kevin Mathis up tight on Hayes, who was pushed off. And so the touchdown will be negated by penalty. It was Kevin Mathis out there in press coverage with Hayes. And that's a big difference in size. Donald Hayes is 6'4", over 220 pounds. Kevin Mathis just 5'9".
Well, those are the kind of matchups that you look for when you get a small corner against a big receiver. They just run the quick slant right there, and you figure that you've got the advantage because you've got the bigger body in there.
3rd and 12 from the 34-yard line of the Saints. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. Just Floyd behind Berline. Berline drops under pressure from the corner. He steps up, throws near sideline, incomplete for Wesley Walls. Wouldn't have gone anywhere anyway, as Berline was dropped by the Saints rush.
Boy, they are harassing Steve Berline every time he goes back there. I mean, when he's got just a little bit of time, it's going to quickly, the pocket's just going to fold in on him. I mean, the guy's, he's running for his life right now.
You know, it looked like the Saints were blitzing both of their corners that time. Both Weary and Mathis were coming off the corners.
Well, Ron Zook has got a lot of different things up his sleeve in his defensive package.
42-yard field goal attempt upcoming. Make it 52 from the 42. Here's Nedney. Nedney on the way. Barely gets there, and it's good. Joe Nedney with a 52-yard field goal, his longest during his short career as a Panther, and the Panthers are on the board.
Well, Nedney came in, signed with them last week, and had 4 or 5 in their win last week, so he's kind of establishing himself as the fact that they made a good acquisition when they picked him up off the streets.
With 4:18 to play in the second quarter, the Panthers are finally on the board on the 52-yard Joe Nedney field goal. Nedney is playing with his 3rd team of the season already. He was with Oakland in preseason while they continued to wait on Sebastian Janikowski's development. Then he went to Denver when Jason Elam was hurt. When Elam got better, they released him, and he came on with the Panthers. The Panthers had lost John Casey in preseason to a fractured kneecap, had signed Richie Cunningham. They were unhappy with his work, and so they brought in Nedney. His first game with them was last week. He was 4 out of 5 against Seattle, but he missed his last attempt of that game, a 34-yarder against the Seahawks. But he's able to hit that 52-yarder. It barely got there. And in 6 plays, the Panthers are able to only go 14 yards in 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Here's Nedney to kick it away. He's got a strong leg. And it'll be Morton from his 2 to the 10 to the 15. He won't get to the 20. Just a 17-yard return for Chad Morton.
Both of these teams today have done an excellent job on coverage on both kickoffs and punts. There's been very little room to move around. And, I mean, you got a couple of dangerous return men out there, and Chad Morton for the Saints and Michael Bates for Carolina.
Ray Green on the tackle. And we'll see what the Saints can do here in the final 4 minutes and 9 seconds of the second quarter. The Saints leading 7-3. Back on a 2-yard touchdown run by Ricky Williams early in the second quarter for the Saints' only points. Two tight ends, two wideouts, one left, one right. Here's Blake setting up the screen to Ricky Williams, and Williams slips a tackle, takes it upfield, and he's going to have to be dragged down by the cornerback, Doug Evans, but it looks like he's picked up the first down.
Man, it's a corner. You've got to hate to see that when Ricky comes around there and gets those shoulders square and coming up, because he's got such a low center of gravity anyway, and he runs with some body lean, and you're just looking at him, and all you see is his shoulder pads coming at you. You go, oh, God, I got to step in there and tackle this thing?
That's a 12-yard gain for Ricky Williams on the swing pass, doing it all on his own. First down, New Orleans up at their 31. 3:35 to play, quarter number 2. Saints leading 7-3. Horn in motion, two tight ends. Handoff Williams straight ahead. Big hole. Ricky Williams upended as he crosses his 40-yard line. Eugene Robinson comes up to trip him up around the ankles, or he might have been off to the races. That's going to be a gain in excess of 10 yards and another first down for New Orleans.
Well, Jim, I hate to sound so repetitive, but, I mean, we've seen it here, especially in this 4-game stretch right now, how Ricky just gets better and better and better as the game goes along. And he doesn't care if he's catching it or if he's running it. He just wants the ball, and when he hits daylight, he's looking for somebody to punish.
A 10-yard pickup. That time it was Eugene Robinson who was punished. First and 10 New Orleans from their 41. Williams this time stacked up at the line of scrimmage. No gain.
Well, they can't all go for positive yardage.
Tim Morabito, the left defensive tackle, on the stop. This is a game where I think the fans are just now kind of getting their breath. There's been so much going on, so many big plays, a lot of turnovers, a lot of big plays defensively by the Saints. Very little scoring, a 7-3 game, but that's not indicative of the sort of action we've seen here in the first half of this ball game. 2nd and 9 from his 42. Blake to throw, and he throws it low. He hits Woodall in the back of the leg, who was dropping off in coverage of Joe Horn.
Well, there was nothing Jeff could do right there. Reggie White comes up the field unblocked, and Ricky gets down there and chops his feet out from underneath him, but Reggie White leans out, and he's right at Jeff Blake's feet when he tries to throw, and he had to just use all arm. There's no way he could step into that throw.
You're right. 15 years out of Tennessee is Reggie White, the all-time sack leader in the NFL, reduced to being a spot player for the most part, though he was in the starting lineup this day. 3rd and 9 for the Saints from their 42. Here's Blake, rolling left, stops, throws over the middle, catch is made by Horn. First down, slips the tackle of Robinson. Joe Horn up the far sideline, pushed out of bounds inside the 25-yard line at the 23 of Carolina. It's first down, New Orleans.
You know, Jim, Joe Horn just might be the best acquisition that the Saints have had so far. You know, Jeff Blake has certainly had his moments, but one thing about Joe Horn through this season, he has been consistent, and he's been a guy that's been able to make some big plays for him.
A 35-yard gain. Joe Horn split out wide to the right, crossing and being spotted. He was wide open at the 45-yard line as he took in that pass. 2-minute warning has been reached. Saints leading the Panthers 7-3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Ricky Williams, 15 carries for 75 yards. Jeff Blake, 7 out of 12 for 99 yards. Williams has the touchdown in this game on a 2-yard plunge back in the early moments of the second quarter. 1st and 10 New Orleans from the Carolina 23. Horn in motion, right to left. Blake hands off Ricky Williams. Big hole straight ahead. Breaks one tackle. Finally, he falls inside the 15-yard line. That's going to be a pickup of in excess of 8 yards on a first down running play.
Man, he's just so hard to bring down on first contact, especially by those second-tier guys, the linebackers and secondary guys. I mean, those bigger defensive lines can get him and just overpower him sometimes. But once he builds up a head of steam, he is so hard to bring down on that first contact. And to me, that's one of the measures of the really good backs and the great ones is how many yards do you gain after contact.
And he's had some holes to run through for the most part here today. That offensive line of the Saints has really done a good job of pushing around the defensive front of the Panthers. Done an excellent job as Ricky Williams. 83 yards on the ground here in the first half. 34 passing yards on the throw that he made to Poole that gave the Saints a 1st and goal at the Carolina 3, though they could not capitalize on that when Jeff Blake fumbled. He's also been a pass receptor here in the first half, and Ricky Williams has truly done it all for New Orleans. With 1:50 to play here in the second quarter, it's 2nd and 2 from the Carolina 15. Horn split out wide to the right. Reed wide left. Now Horn goes in motion right to left. Behind Blake, handoff Williams. Running right, trying to turn the corner. Will do so. Dive out of bounds, stopping the clock and picking up the first down in the process.
Man, look at these fans out here, and you can just see the way that they appreciate the fact how Ricky's running the ball today. He gets over there at the boundary. It would have been easy just to step out, but he lunges, gets past the first down marker, then rolls out of bounds. They appreciate the way that he's taking it to the Carolina defense.
Great awareness on the part of Williams. A 3-yard gain. A first down for New Orleans at the 12-yard line of the Panthers. 1:45 to play in the second quarter. Saints on top, 7-3. Reed is split out wide to the left, Horn wide right. 2 tight ends for the Saints. And now they split Glover out to the right and put Horn in the slot to the right. And they go to a 4 wide receiver set, and the Saints don't get it off in time. It would appear a flag was thrown. Perhaps it was movement along the offensive line, but the Saints were motioning so many people.
For the snap, false start, offense, number 63, 5 yards, first down.
Wally Williams guilty of the false start as the Saints were going with some wholesale movement in attempt to get some mismatches in that Carolina secondary. That's the 5th penalty of the day against the Saints. Some of them have been very costly.
Well, you figure something had to go awry. It's been going too smoothly up to this point.
1st and 15 from the 17-yard line. Horn goes in motion. Panthers show blitz. Blake rolls left, still rolling, looking. A flag is thrown. He's going to run with the ball out of bounds around the 8-yard line, but there's a flag thrown in the backfield where they were trying to protect Blake.
Well, it was a great play call. Caught everybody off balance, and I'm sure they're going to get the Saints for holding.
Saints offensive linemen throwing up their hands in disgust. So the Saints in danger of squandering a big opportunity here.
Offense, number 82, 10 yards, remains first down.
Andrew Glover detected holding. So the Saints had it at the 12 initially, and now, after a couple of penalties, the ball is all the way back at the 26.
I don't know. Just looking at the replay right there, I think that's a pretty lame call.
1st and 24 from the 26-yard line of the Panthers. Horn wide right, Reed wide left. Backs off set behind Blake. He gives it to Ricky on a delay. Ricky Williams bouncing forward off tacklers. Picks up some hard-earned yards down to about the 21-yard line. Give him 5 on the carry.
Ricky looked like a human pinata going up in there. People were hitting him and just bouncing off and just kept going in the right direction. I mean, that's about as tough a 5 or 6 yard run as you'll ever see.
I don't think I've ever seen Ricky Williams run harder as a Saint than he has here in the first half. He is definitely charged up today. It'll be 2nd and 18 from the 21. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Terrell Smith in motion. Blake play action, stops, pulls it down, throws. Wide open is Glover at the 12-yard line. He's back to around the original line of scrimmage on a 10-yard pickup. Saints have 1 timeout remaining. as the clock is running and showing 45 seconds left.
Well, Andrew Glover goes through a stretch of 2 or 3 games where he never gets the ball thrown his way, and then here in the last couple of weeks, he's become a little bit of a weapon for this offense. And it even looks like he's running better now than he did earlier in the year, so maybe those knees are healing up.
3rd and 10 from the 12-yard line. Horn in motion. Blake, play action, rolls left. He's got Smith underneath, doesn't see him, throws it into a crowd, incomplete.
Oh, man.
Intended for Glover at the 9-yard line. Terrell Smith was wide open around the 7.
I just don't know if Jeff couldn't see him or what, but, I mean, he was running around out there all by himself, and, I mean, that's going to almost be a walk-in if he gets the ball to him.
It was very evident from up here. Instead, he tried to hit his tight end Glover. The ball fell incomplete, and on comes Doug Bryan, who had an earlier attempt from 51 deflected. This will be a 29-yarder from the right hash mark with going to hold. Snap is back, placement is down, kick is up, and the Saints put more points on the board on a 29-yard Doug Bryan field goal, and with just 13 seconds remaining in quarter number 2, our score is now the Saints 10 and the Panthers 3. So not as much as they wanted out of it, but points nonetheless.
Well, they had a real good drive going there, but then they had a couple penalties, illegal motion and a holding, and kind of set themselves back, but at least they were able to capitalize.
And barring something unforeseen in the final 13 seconds, the Saints will go to the halftime locker room feeling extremely good defensively about the way that they have just totally negated this Panther attack during the first half. The Saints go 69 yards in 11 plays in 4:09. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
From the heart of the Crescent City, this is WWL New Orleans, an Entercom communication station, AM 870, the news, talk, and sports leader.
Well, Jim Haslett said this week that he regarded George Seifert and Bill Parcells as the best coaches in the NFL when they were both doing it at the same time.
Well, I tell you, that'd be a hard pair to argue against, you considering everything that they've done. And the guy that's on the other side of the field reached to 50 and 75 much sooner than anybody else in the league has.
Squib kick is taken in by the Panthers at the 48-yard line. It was Green who got it, and now there's some pushing and shoving. Hannibal Navies is a backup linebacker getting into it with one of the Saints. I think what happened was on that short kickoff, I think it hit a Panther initially.
It did.
And then Green was able to take it in. He fell to the turf, but he's still live game, and the Saints recognized that and gave him a nice little massage while he was lying on the turf, totally exposed to such a hit, and some of the Panthers took exception to that. Well, let's see if the Panthers will try anything here from around the 48-yard line of Carolina with 11 seconds remaining before the end of the half.
Well, you almost got to figure that they will. Steve Berline was standing over there on the sidelines with George Seifert and one of the other assistant coaches looking over some plays. If they're just going to go in there and take one knee, they're not looking at the playbook for that.
Carl Hankton checks in. Former De La Salle High School player here in New Orleans, seeing his first action of the day. So he will probably be involved in this. They're going to set up a covey wide to the right. Hankton's one of them. Muhammad is the only receiver to the left. Panthers have 2 timeouts. 1st and 10 remaining. From the 48, Berline going to throw over the middle. It's caught by Hayes. Hayes is going to be tripped up at the 29-yard line. And they will call a timeout with 3 seconds remaining.
Well, when Doug Bryan hit that line drive kickoff, I mean, I don't know if that was just a miss-hit or if that was something that was designed. But at this point right now, it looks like it's going to backfire them on a little bit because they got themselves in position right now to kick a field goal and take it into halftime 10-6.
A 24-yard pickup, and that'll give Nedney an opportunity to kick his second field goal of the half. He earlier hit from 52. Joe Nedney, the 6'5", 220-pound kicker out of San Jose State, well-traveled. He's been with 3 teams in 5 weeks. He's been with 5 teams in less than a year. Tore his ACL when he was with the Cardinals, and that set him back dramatically. He's the only kicker in the NFL able to come back from such an injury. This will be a 46-yard attempt from the right hash mark out of the hold of Ken Walter. Snap is back, placement is down, kick is up, has plenty of distance, and the direction as well. And so the Panthers able to capitalize on a tactical error perhaps by the Saints in the waning moments of the first half, get 3 more points on the board, and go to the halftime locker room trailing New Orleans by 4. It's the Saints 10 and the Panthers 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network
press box, and we've got just a few scoring plays to talk about. In the first quarter, of course, nothing. In the second quarter, the Saints get on the board. A 9-play, 58-yard drive took off 3:53 off the clock as Ricky Williams scores his first Superdome touchdown from 2 yards out. Made it 7-0 after the PAT by Bryan. The next scoring, though, was Carolina. They got a field goal. 6 plays, 14-yard drive is all it took. 2:33 off the clock. A 52-yarder from Nedney. Joe Nedney drills it through. Made it 7-3. Of course, the Saints did come back and get another score. This one, a Bryan field goal of 29 yards, capping 11-play, 69-yard drive, 4:05 off the clock. That made it 10-3. And just moments ago, the final play of the half, a 46-yard field goal after just 2 plays from Joe Nedney, the 46-yarder, made it 10-6. That's where we are at halftime. And we've got a very special guest, Roman Gabriel, 16 years in the National Football League, will be our guest here at halftime when we return. And we'll be back with that guest after this on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Radiophone has raised the bar. Not only is Radiophone's Family Talk plan the best available, but now there's some lanyap. A chance to win the Ultimate Saints fan package. 4 tickets to the next home game, dinner for 4, and a luxurious limousine ride from the Coles Transportation. And remember, sign up for Family Talk and you get up to 5 free phones, unlimited calling between family members, and everyone in the family can share from the same bucket of minutes. Now that's a family plan. It's all waiting for you at Radiophone. Stop by your nearest location.
This year's top defensive line doesn't belong to a football team. It belongs to Castrol, with a line of motor oils that protects your engine like no one else's. Like Castrol GTX 10W30, which provides maximum protection against both viscosity and thermal breakdown. And Castrol Syntec Blend for severe driving conditions. And if you're interested in the most advanced lubricant technology, there's Castrol Syntec Full Synthetic, the active lubricant. When it comes to protecting your engine, the best defense is the best defense. Look for all Castrol brands at your neighborhood Walmart.
Start your day with Bob Del Giorno, weekday mornings 5 till 9 on WWL 870 AM.
Welcome back, everyone. Our halftime guest is the color analyst of the Carolina Panther broadcast team, Roman Gabriel. He was a former Pro Bowl MVP, a National Football League MVP in 1969, played 16 years in the league. And then he's got a championship ring, and I asked him about that. It's the USFL, so you're a well-traveled guy, Roman.
I was coaching with the Arizona Wranglers under George Allen, and it was quite a treat to be able to not only play for Coach Allen, but as well coach for him and see what he was as a coach as well as a player under him.
No doubt about that, I'm sure. And, of course, the USFL got started with Dave Dixon's idea, and he's from the New Orleans area.
Exactly.
And it was his idea to have a Superdome.
Well, it's interesting, Larry, the experiences that you've had here. I remember 67, the first year you guys had your franchise. We opened up, first game of the season. Gilliam returns the kickoff back, and George Allen's going up down the sideline pulling his hair out.
That's when you were a player with the Rams, of course, as a quarterback. When you played, if I remember right, you were about the biggest quarterback at the time to have played the National Football League. Now you see all these big guys playing.
Yeah, you do. I probably was the strongest of some of the guys. We had Norm Sneads and people like that were almost the same size, but there weren't very many, especially quarterbacks, that were lifting weights, and that's why I was able to stand in the pocket. Spent a lot of time going from 195 pounds out of college to coming into the pros to getting to 235, and a lot of that in the weight room when it was sort of unheard of by a quarterback and even many players.
That's true, and now, of course, the guys are also big. Now, your linemen are all 300 plus, and your running backs, we've seen fullbacks now 275.
It's going to be interesting somewhere down the line. You look at the guy out of Kentucky, that young kid that's 290 pounds, a quarterback. A kid my alma mater has at 6'5", about 235, a freshman. One day we're probably going to see a guy that's about 6'7", 420 pounds, runs a 4.3 and throws the ball 100 yards.
Oh, yeah. This game today, defense, you were a quarterback. This is not the kind of game I guess a quarterback likes to play in, is it?
No, and the philosophy of the style of offense that we use and so many teams use nowadays, you put the pressure really on the quarterback. You guys got great defensive line. Offensive lineman one-on-one needs some help. So hopefully in the second half, perhaps the Panthers might go two tight ends running back to help out, because Burline, even when he delivers the ball, is getting hit.
Now, he's being taken a lot out of him. He's playing with the flu a little bit with IV units and all that. Then he gets a bloody nose on top of that.
Oh, I know. And as we just mentioned, every time he does throw the football, I can only recall one time that
he was able to stand on his feet without hitting the turf. So that's a lot of pounding with a guy who's already weak, and you just don't know what's going to happen in the second half unless they help him out a little bit. Do you do any coaching now at all? Do you help a little bit? I mean, do you give a little hint? George Seifert's a pretty good coach, but, do you give him a little insight?
Well, they pay those guys real good money nowadays. They got great coaches. I try to hint a little bit on the radio from the experience that I have and what you see, and having been a coach myself and calling plays from the booth and so forth. Maybe they might listen occasionally, but I doubt it.
It's a lot easier up here, isn't it, than down there?
You don't have the aches and pains of the Mondays after playing on Sundays, especially on this hard AstroTurf.
Roman Gabriel, our guest, thanks so much for being with us. I really appreciate that.
Real pleasure. Thank you.
Real pleasure to meet you. It's halftime with the score 10-6. The Saints lead it by 4. We'll be back with comment from Buddy D after this on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
The only thing that comes close to hunting season is football season, and right now you can enjoy them both. Hi folks, Hokie Gajan here again for Napa Auto Parts. And if you'd like to go hunting or fishing with me, you still have time to enter Napa's Great Outdoors with Hokie contest at your nearest Napa store. Winners will get to go hunting or fishing with me at the fabulous Beau Rivage Sportsman's Lodge. And of course, we'll talk a little football too, just as long as you don't spook the ducks.
No purchase necessary. See Napa for complete details. Don't miss radio. Andre, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on WWL 870 AM.
Welcome back to the Dome. Let's go right to Buddy D in his first half commentary.
Larry, as that battlefield general once said, we have seen the enemy, and it is us. And that pretty much describes the Saints in the first half today. A full-point Saint lead, 10-6, doesn't paint the proper picture of the first 30 minutes. But the score is what counts. You've got a running back, Ricky Williams, who rushes for almost 100 yards in the first half, 90 to be exact. You're the recipient of a fumble recovery on the opening kickoff at the other team's 21. You've got a first and goal to 2, and you've got a miscommunication between the center and the quarterback. All that, and the Saints could be in a comfortable lead. These are the kind of games in past when you haven't seized the opportunities that many of them that the Saints have had. Oftentimes they turn out bad. The Saints defense is playing superb. That interception by Kevin Mathis was as good an interception as you've seen in the Superdome in a long time. Let me say, if the second half is anything like the first half and the Saints just don't shoot themselves in the foot, it'll be a rocking chair game. But right now, you got to wonder.
It is a 10-6 halftime score. Those are the comments of Buddy D, and we'll be back with the start of the second half right after this on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
You're just out acting crazy, playing the fool, but when you look up at her, and she's looking at you, and all of a sudden you don't know what to do. Well, make it a Bud Light. Make it a Bud Light. Just keep it simple. Make it a Bud Light. 'Cause it'll be alright. Make it a Bud Light.
Bud Light beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
A woman crashed her car. Now she stands in front of a supermarket and waits for a cab.
Alex Feliciano is an Allstate claims adjuster.
The problem isn't her body shop. It's her insurance company. I can't fix a customer's car, but I can cut the red tape. And the faster a car gets into the shop, the faster it gets out.
If something happens to your car, will there be an Alex Feliciano to help you? Lots of companies sell insurance, but no one has people like Allstate.
You're in good hands with Allstate. Mine.
Allstate Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois.
Your information fix, WWL 870 AM, the news, talk, and sports leader.
Welcome back to the Dome, everyone. Larry Matson with you. Enjoyed talking with Roman Gabriel. Had the comments of Buddy D. Hokie and Jim will be giving you the action here in just a moment. And by the way, if Gerald Parker of New Orleans will be this week's Big Shot Ram at Home kickoff contestant. If the Saints run back their kickoff for a touchdown, Gerald will receive a new Dodge Ram pickup truck from Big Shot Soft Drinks, 16 great flavors. And we're looking forward to that coming up in just a moment. Right now, let's go back to Jim Henderson and Hokie Gajan for their comments.
Well, Ricky Williams is only 10 yards away from crossing the 100-yard threshold for the 4th straight week, which would be a Saints record. He had 18 carries for 90 yards, Hope, in the first half. By way of contrast, the Carolina Panthers as a team in the first half rushed for 2 yards.
That's unbelievable. I mean, the Saints defense up front, the guys are just flying into the ball. Those defensive linemen are anchoring in their feet right there, and they're just not giving Carolina any room to run anywhere.
Panthers had 93 yards through the air, the Saints 142. The Panthers didn't convert a single third down opportunity. They were 0 out of 6, those 2 yards net rushing, while the Saints netted 95. Jeff Blake in the first half was 8 out of 14 for 108 yards. He was sacked once, did not throw a touchdown, was not intercepted. His longest completion of the first half, 35 yards to Joe Horn. And for the Panthers, I guess at halftime you say, look, all our bad football's behind us. Look at the way we've turned the ball over, and yet we're only trailing by 4.
Well, the Saints could very well say the same thing. All our bad football is behind us because, they had 2 fumbles on their first 2 possessions, gave it up where they had just ideal scoring opportunities and couldn't capitalize. I just hope this second half is as entertaining as the first half was, even though the score doesn't show it. It was a fast-paced game that was very aggressive, bodies flying around, people getting after one another, the way an NFL game should be played on Sunday.
A lot of savage hitting, and Steve Berline, as you look at his uniform, bears testimony to that. There's blood down the front of his jersey. He had to leave the game for a short amount of time during this football game in the second quarter when he had his nose bloodied. He was 7 out of 14 for 93 yards, sacked 3 times by the Saints in the first half, with Leroy Glover getting 2 of those. So it was a very entertaining first half, the Saints squandering major opportunities, fumbling the ball away at the Carolina 32 and the Carolina 3-yard line on a 1st and goal. Messed up exchange between Blake and Fontenot back in the second quarter. So the Saints easily could have 7 more points in this game, probably 10. And yet, as we enter the third quarter with the Saints getting ready to return the second half kickoff, they lead by but 4, 10-6. Here's Nedney putting it to the 15, running across the field. He's across the 20, across the 25, stacked up just short of the 30-yard line.
Boy, the Panthers do such a good job of closing down the lanes. I mean, it looked like they had something going right there, but they shut it off real quick.
Well, guys, the Saints didn't run it back for a touchdown, but Gerald Parker of New Orleans won a Saints hat and a Big Shot shirt, all from Big Shot soft drinks. 16 great flavors. Register wherever Big Shot is sold.
23-yard return of the second half opening kickoff by Chad Morton. Saints 1st and 10 from their 30-yard line. They move it left to right as we view it. On top by a score of 10-6 are the Saints. Blake will open with 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers. Ricky Williams behind him. Handoff Williams, right side, cuts it back against the grain. Takes 2 tacklers with him beyond the 35 up to around the 37-yard line.
And even the first play of the second half, the Saints go back what they did best in the first half is run the ball. And even at the end of the play, you saw Lamont Hall getting a little pushing and shoving contest from one of the Carolina Panthers defenders.
It's a 7-yard gain and brings Williams within 3 of 100 on the day. 2nd and 3 from the New Orleans 37-yard line. First series of the third quarter. 2 wideouts to the left. Backs offset behind Blake. Horn comes in motion left to right. Blake pitches it to Williams, running left behind the block of Wally Williams. He's going to be stacked up, as Williams didn't do a very good job of getting anybody out there when he was the lone blocker for Williams. This play will be stacked up and looks to be a loss on it of about a yard.
Well, I think that was a case right there where it might have been a chance for Ricky just to go ahead and outrun his blockers. He was being patient, and that's the thing you really want to do. But if he was just taking it to the boundary, he would have picked up positive yardage. It wouldn't have been a big gain, but he stayed back there and let the Carolina pursuit get to him.
Loss of 1 on the carry. 3rd and 4 for the Saints from their 36. Horn comes in motion left to right. 2 receivers to the near side of the field. Backs offset behind Blake. Play action, throwing quickly to his left, or rather to his right, in the direction of Horn. It's thrown incomplete, low at the feet of Horn, and so the Saints will have to punt it away. Joe Horn glancing up at the replay screen to see what happened there, and on comes Toby Goen to punt it away. Ihani Uwezike awaits it at the Carolina 20. Uwezike performing these duties for the first time this season, having replaced Michael Bates in that role. With a return on, it's a very short punt to the left side of the field. It takes a Carolina bounce, and the Saints will touch it at the 34-yard line of Carolina. Not one of Goins' better efforts. 13-13 to play, quarter number 3. Saints 10, Panthers 6. This is the New Orleans off Goins' foot like he were kicking a ripe melon.
Yeah, that's it. We went about as far as a right melon would have gone, too. I mean, it just didn't have any jump off of his foot. And I will have to say this, though, that's one of the few times so far this season that Toby Goin hadn't performed very well.
That's a 29-yard punt and allows Carolina to go to work from their 35. Burline, 5-step drop, going to throw it out of the backfield on the swing pass to Biakabatuka. He'll be upended and knocked out of bounds in front of the Saints bench at the 40-yard line. Tim Biakabatuka in the first half rushed the ball 5 times for a loss of 3. And as we mentioned, they had but 2 net yards rushing in the first half.
That's about as good a run defense as I've ever seen in that first half.
Saints front 4 was very active, flying around the football and totally snuffing out the Panther attack. But this is a new half, 2nd and 4 from the 41-yard line of Carolina. Walls goes in motion. Handoff, Biakabatuka hit in the backfield and has to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play.
Well, it looks like their run defense is starting out the same way in the ball game they did. I mean, it was a lot of black jerseys in the backfield that time, and that's what you got to do. I mean, when you're a good run defensive football team, you get penetration. You defeat the blocks at the line of scrimmage. You get in the backfield and you disrupt things before they can get going.
And one of the guys largely responsible for that, Norman Hand, who comes to the sideline as the Saints have the Panthers in a 3rd and 5 situation at the Carolina 40. 2 wideouts to the near side, back split behind Burline. He puts Muhammad in motion left to right. Burline, long count, drops straight back, rolls a bit to his right, protected well. He throws it upfield to Walls. Completion to midfield, first down, Panthers.
No, he's so hard to stop. I mean, that guy gets in there, he posts up like a center in basketball, and if you can just get the ball to him, I mean, he's going to catch it. He runs well, he's very athletic, he can jump. Wesley Walls can do it all. And if you just get him the ball on offense, I mean, he'll get some production for you.
That's his 4th catch of the day. And this is the 83rd consecutive game that he's had at least 1 reception. First down, Panthers at the New Orleans 49-yard line. 11:35 to play, 3rd quarter. Saints lead it 10-6. Walls comes in motion right to left. Burline hands off to Biakabatuka. Smothered at the line of scrimmage by about 4 Saint defenders.
Man, you know, if that doesn't get you fired up just to watch that many people around the football, you know, we said it in the first half, this game, the defense looks a lot like those teams that Jim Moore had here when they had the great linebackers and the good defensive line. And when a guy's got the football, there's a lot of defensive personnel around him.
You know, Burline has been under such pressure. He's been hit so often, but you almost get the feeling right now that Carolina is just running the football, just trying to keep the Saints honest defensively, but it's almost like they don't expect to get anything out of their running game.
Right, but it's in the game plan, so they're going to use it.
2nd and 10 from midfield. Nobody in the backfield this time to run the ball with Burline. 3 wide receivers. Burline throws it. It's caught by a backup tight end, Brian Kinchin, with the reception. And that's going to carry the football down to about the Saint 42-yard line. Brian Kinchin, that is his first catch of the season, the 13-year veteran out of LSU, who's primarily, in fact, almost solely a deep snapper for this team.
Well, and right there, I mean, they're just getting him out there. They're throwing the short stuff, and you got to figure right now the Saints are going to be looking for Wesley Walls to get most of the ball if they can't get Muhammad down track. So, you know, just throw the Saints a curve by throwing it to somebody different.
3rd and 3 from the New Orleans 42. 4 wide receivers, empty backfield. Burline, 3-step drop, hit in the face as he throws it behind Hayes, incomplete. Down goes Burline, smothered. Joe Johnson was in there, so was Keith Mitchell. And you know, Burline, with nobody to pick up the blitz, knows he's going to take one in the chops and stands right in there and takes it.
That's right, and that's what the good veteran quarterbacks do. I mean, he will remind you a lot of Bobby Hebert out there on the field. He's going to sit in there and take one for the team. He's going to bounce up and get back to the sideline. A guy is plenty tough.
Ken Walter to punt it away. Stands at the Carolina 42. Chad Morton awaits it at the Saint 10. They've had some troubles in their punting game in the past, have the Panthers, but so far unerring today. Here's the snap back. It's low to Walter. He picks it up belatedly and kicks it straight up in the air. Morton calls for the fair catch. Might have been impeded, and now another Panther hits him after he has brought the ball in, but there'll be no flag. He had to kind of wade through traffic as one of the Panthers was down around his ankles. Another one brushed him lightly after he made the fair catch, but no flag. 9:47 to play, third quarter. Saints 10, Panthers 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Get outdoors with Hokie contest. Watch for details in Napa Auto Parts and your Budweiser retailer on how you can win a hunting or fishing trip with me at the fabulous Beau Rivage Sportsman's Lodge.
Wesley Walls headed off to the Carolina locker room during that timeout. Looked like he might have been favoring his ribs. We'll try to find out what that's all about. First and 10, New Orleans from the Saint 18-yard line. They move it left to right as we view it. 9:47 to play, third quarter. Delay to Williams. Running room left side. Ricky Williams beyond the 25 and up close to the 27-yard line.
Well, he should have just set a Saints record with that particular rush.
While we determine if he did, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
From the heart of the Crescent City, this is WWL New Orleans, an Entercom communication station, AM 870, the news, talk, and sports leader.
Second and one from the 27. Williams again. This time he's brought down after picking up the first down, crossing the 30-yard line. He had 104 coming into that carry. Got at least a couple of more there. So Ricky Williams is over the 100-yard mark for the fourth consecutive game as a Saints rusher. No running back in Saints history has ever done that.
I tell you, he is dishing out some punishment out there today.
First and 10, New Orleans from their 31. 8:49 to play, third quarter. Saints lead 10-6. Here's a handoff to Terrell Smith, and Terrell Smith banging into safeties and linebackers and not going down easily. His forward progress will be marked up around the 39-yard line, a gain of about 8. Well, you told me that Terrell Smith was going to get his first carry as a Saint today.
Ricky Williams just set a record for the first Saint to ever rush 4 times, over 400 yards in 4 consecutive games. Terrell Smith just got his first carry of the National Football League of his career.
Well, I remember your career, and when people would get conscious of George Rogers after he'd take it in about 15 times, they'd give it to the fullback. And I think you led the NFL in yards per carry one season because of that. So a change of pace for the Saints gets them 8 yards, and now it's back to the steady diet of Ricky Williams that the Panthers have been getting. He'll be stacked up just short of the first down, it would appear. Short of the New Orleans 41-yard line. They will mark the football just beyond the 40.
Well, you got to figure that, you had to appreciate the way that Terrell Smith went on that carry. I mean, he was going to get every possible inch that he could because he doesn't know when he's going to touch it again.
At least as a running back.
Well, correct. That's what I mean.
1 yard, 3rd and 1 for the Saints from their 40. Handoff, Williams diving over the pile, and he has the first down. Ricky Williams enlists in the airborne.
Well, that's something that we've seen him do 2 weeks in a row now, and that's something that he really didn't do last year. In short yardage and goal line situation, he wasn't a guy to jump over the pile. He was more of a guy to just try and plow through it.
Well, there's a timeout down on the field because there's a Saint down on the field. And that's Terrell Smith, who's being attended to at the 38-yard line. Terrell Smith, who, as Hokie mentioned earlier, got his first carry as a Saint. He has been a pass receiver who's been more prominent of late. Came into the game with 8 receptions. And now he's back on his feet. And he's going to run to the sideline.
I'll tell you what, this guy, he plays with a lot of energy on the field. I mean, when he's out there, there are a lot of times during a timeout that he'll be in the huddle, and you'll see him walking around, and getting guys fired up, and sometimes he's even dancing in the huddle. So he's having fun, and he's a very spiritual guy for the players out there in the field. He keeps them upbeat.
He collided head-on with the middle linebacker, Lester Towns, and that's how he incurred the injury, but it doesn't appear to be serious. First and 10, New Orleans from their 42. Milne enters the game as the fullback now, replacing Smith. Play action, look out, Jeff. Blake throws it under duress, incomplete, and Glover was clearly pushed by the defensive back Minter, and there is no flag.
The only thing I could say is they're going to call that an uncatchable ball, but I mean, there was no doubt about it. He definitely got pushed.
Blake threw it up there with a wing and a prayer. Glover's a big target at 6'6". It was thrown too high, but he was clearly pushed in the back by the safety when he went up for the football. And you can hear the response of the crowd in the Superdome who just watched it on Diamond Vision, the replay. 2nd and 10, New Orleans from their 42. Horn in motion to the right, now back to the left. Handoff Williams straight ahead. Ricky Williams is hit by Woodall. He'll be stacked up around the 45-yard line. Give him 2, maybe 3 on the carry. Ricky Williams has been a very busy young man today.
Well, when you accept your role as the workhorse back, this is what you can expect. And those guys that want the football, these are the games that they thoroughly enjoy. Get out there and let me get it, just feed it to me, and I'll put the points on the board.
It was a 3-yard gain. Williams has carried 24 times in this game. It's 3rd and 7, a short 7 from the New Orleans 46. Blake in the shotgun, and this will be blown dead. False start.
Before the snap.
Most probably.
Offense, number 88. 5 yards, 3rd down.
That's a false start for Willie Jackson, which you don't expect from a wide receiver. You saw the Saints this week have an acquisition, Charlie Jones, from the Chargers, late of the Chargers, and they're clearly still looking for a guy down at that position. Jackson has just made too many mistakes and dropped too many balls in the limited amount of playing time that he's had.
Yes, he has.
3rd and 11 from the 41 now after the penalty. Blake from the shotgun pumps left, throws right. Catch is made by Horn, but it's well short of the 1st down. That's only going to be about a 4-yard completion. And so the penalty certainly hurts the Saints, and now they'll have to kick it back to the Panthers. Mike McCarthy talking with Jeff Blake as he comes to the sideline. The Panthers just hanging in there, not doing a whole lot of things, but staying within striking distance because of the Saints' problems offensively to execute in clutch situations, the turnover problem, the penalties. Here's the snap back to Goen. A wobbly effort. Owezike calls for the fair catch, makes it at his 18-yard line. That's where the Panthers will start with 5:03 to play in the 3rd quarter, trailing the Saints by a score of 10-6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
To register for the Big Shot Soft Drinks Ram at Home Kickoff Contest, and you could win a Dodge Ram truck. Register wherever Big Shot Soft Drinks are sold.
The Panthers today have rushed 9 times for 1 yard. Floyd 1 for 3, Berline 1 for 2, Batuka 7 for -4. Chris Mangum is now the tight end in Wesley Wall's absence. 1st and 10, Carolina from the Panther 18. Wideouts left and right. Berline 5-step drop, guns it downfield. Catch by Muhammad. 1st down as he fights his way beyond the 35 and up close to the 37-yard line.
Well, without Wesley Walls in there, and I don't know how serious the injury is, but without him, Steve Berline's going to have to find somebody else to throw the ball to because he was really his only weapon that he had in the 1st half.
It's a 19-yard gain. And again, we saw Walls in a timeout earlier head to the locker room, apparently favoring some bruised ribs. We await an injury report on him. 1st and 10 Panthers from the Carolina 37, 4:28 to play 3rd quarter. Saints leading 10-6. Handoff Biaka Batuka, banging his way beyond the 40 and up close to the 41-yard line.
That wasn't much of a run right there, but that's about the most breathing run that he's had whenever he's got the ball in one of his rushing attempts.
It was just a crack of daylight, and a 4-yard gain for Biaka Batuka is the longest run of the day for the Panthers so far. But they continue to hang around, trailing only by 4, 10-6. 2nd and 6 from the Carolina 41. 2 tight ends, 1 wide out, and now Biaka Batuka goes out of the backfield in motion. Saints creeping up, showing blitz, coming off the corner. Berline throws it, and Floyd is upended immediately by Mathis.
Well, I tell you what, Kevin Mathis has really been a spark plug for this team. First play of the game, they come out and do something like that. He comes in and he cuts down a tight end right away. Right there, he read that perfectly. He saw that William Floyd was coming out in the backfield. He's up there to upend him before he can get any momentum going.
Chopped him right at the ankles. Just a 2-yard gain. William Floyd probably doesn't like to get hit low either. You remember he tore 3 ligaments against the Saints back in '95. Nearly ended his career. Panthers are just 1 out of 8 on third down conversions. This is 3rd and 5 from the Carolina 42. 3 wide receivers, 1 back. Saints showing blitz. Burline, 3-step drop, guns it over the middle, and it's broken up by the Saints. Read beautifully by Molden. He was all over that slant, and he knocked it away from Muhammad. And like I said earlier, it's almost contagious. In the past, you never saw Alex Molden with his hands on the football. He was always there to make the tackle once you caught him.
Right, and even right here, it's showing that Alex is still competitive. It's later in the week. He didn't even practice on Friday because of a strained calf muscle. He wants to be out there playing.
So Ken Walter will punt it away as he stands at the 28 of the Panthers. Chad Morton back at the Saints 16. This is high and very short. A roof scraper that Morton comes up and makes the fair catch on around his own 31-yard line. That one could have been punted in an elevator shaft. 2:46 to play in the third quarter. Panthers trailing the Saints 10-6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Kenny Wilkerson with the Beta Springs Water Saints sideline report. Kenny?
Yeah, to talk about the other side for a minute. Wesley Wall's still in the locker room right now being taped up. The x-ray is negative. He does have the rib injury, though, and is questionable to return. Back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Kenny, thank you very much. 1st and 10 from the New Orleans 31. Ricky Williams spins his way beyond the line of scrimmage for a very short gain. Just a 1-yard gain, and you get the feeling that the Panthers are really focusing on him now because the Saints haven't been able to generate anything else consistently.
Right, the passing offense really hasn't done much here, especially in this second half, and it kind of tapered off a little bit in the first half, so they got to get something going right now.
That's just a 1-yard gain by Williams, who went over the century mark earlier in the quarter. 2nd and 9 from the Saint 32. Williams again. Up the middle, jumping over a tackler for about 5, up around the 36-yard line.
Yeah, if you don't think they're keen on Ricky right now, there was 9 people in the box just now. The only 2 guys outside the box were the guys out on the wideout. So, they're going to get in there and stack it and say, all right, we're going to make Ricky beat us with the running game. Somebody's got to get open, start making some big plays on offense when they throw the ball.
This would be a good time to do it. 3rd and 4 from the New Orleans 37. Blake is 9 out of 17 on the day. From the shotgun with 4 wide receivers and Terrell Smith standing to his left. He puts Poole in motion, fakes it to him on the end around. Blake keeps it himself, and he loses the football. There's going to be a fight for it up around the 48-yard line. Blake lost the football around the 41. It looks like Wally Williams recovered it, however. And a first down for New Orleans.
Well, that's a good thing right there. That's a lucky break. Jeff Blake took a shot when he came out of there. Coming around there on that naked bootleg like that. He's got Wally out in front, but he takes a lick right here at the end of the play, and the ball squirts out on him.
Jimmy Hitchcock put a shoulder into Blake and dislodged the football, but the Saints able to retain possession and a first down at their 43. We're in the final minute of the third quarter. Here's Ricky Williams, nothing up the middle, bounces it outside, turns it upfield, runs over a tackler to the 48-yard line of Carolina. He ran over Eric Davis, the left cornerback, for an 8-yard gain.
Well, he didn't have anything going on in the backfield. Carolina got back there and got in the backfield right away, right on the snap. Ricky just stutter steps a little bit, breaks it to the outside, uses his speed, and gets something out that was virtually nothing.
He looks quicker and more elusive today than I think I've ever seen him as a Saint. He's run 28 times for 130 yards. On 2nd and 1 from the Carolina 48, Williams straight ahead has the first down inside the 45-yard line.
I'd like to see this be one of those big-time games that Ricky had last year, like against the Cleveland Browns, where he comes out here and just establishes himself and say, y'all try and stop me.
15 minutes left in regulation. Saints on top of the Panthers 10-6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Get the inside scoop on the Saints sideline stories with Kenny Wilkerson's exclusive injury updates from the field. Hear it when it happens, only on the Saints Radio Network. Turn down the sound on your TV and turn us up, the Saints Radio Network.
This has been a tough, gritty, smack you in the mouth football game through 3 quarters.
Yes, it has. Both teams are flying around. There's been a lot of pushing and shoving going on out there. These guys want to get their first NFC West win underneath their belt, try and get something going. Right now, the Saints are in control, but they're going to have to get something right here. They need to march this ball down the field. They've been too effective on offense today, just to keep squandering scoring opportunities. Right now, it's time to take it, put it down there, and get the ball in the end zone.
During the break between the third and fourth quarter, Wesley Walls returned to the Carolina bench. We'll see if he's going to be available to them the next time they have the football offensively. The Saints would like that to be in about 6 minutes from now after they drive it down their throats and put it in the end zone. They're on an impressive march at the moment that has taken them to the Carolina 44-yard line. Ricky Williams, in case you're interested, his career high, 179 yards rushing on 40 carries in that loss to the Browns here a year ago. 1st and 10, New Orleans from the Carolina 44. Saints moving it right to left as we view it. Wideouts left and right, backs in an eye. Everybody anticipating a carry by Williams. Play action to him, and Blake looks long, looking for Horn. Horn comes back for the football, incomplete. Well covered by Doug Evans, who had him in single coverage down the near sideline, and Horn is shaken up at the 2-yard line.
Well, that play was just a little bit, that ball was just a little bit underthrown. Joe had to stop and make some type of adjustment for it, where that's really better if he just leaves him on in the end zone and let Joe run underneath it.
And it's a concern, Jeff Blake, that looks down in that vicinity where 3 members of the Saints medical staff are going to be attending to Joe Horn.
Well, let's take an Abita Springs Water Saints sideline report with Kenny. Kenny, what you see?
Yeah, he's just about 10 yards away from me right now, guys, and they got to him very, very quickly. Came right down on his tailbone. Now, whether or not it's going to turn out to be something bad or something good, he landed very, very hard on his tailbone going up to fight for that football. Tim Finney and Kevin Magnum, Scotty Patton all looking to him right now. Jake Reed is here, and Willie Jackson making his way over right now as well. It looks like he's in a lot of pain, but we'll wait and see how he does when they get him up here in a second. Upstairs to you guys.
We'll be back in a moment on the Saints Radio Network. 2nd and 10 for the Saints from the Carolina 44. Horn standing on the Saints sideline, looking like he can return. 2 wideouts to the right, handoff Williams. He runs weak side and caught in the backfield, dropped for a loss on the play.
Let's go back down to the sidelines with the Abita Springs Water Saints sideline report with Kenny. Kenny, what you got?
Yeah, Joe Horn coming back onto the field right now. Looks a little gimpy, but like we said, he landed right on his tailbone. Just took a little minute to shake it off or two, but looks like he'll be fine. Back upstairs to you guys.
That is your coccyx, isn't it?
Yes, I think that's what they call it. And the only person I ever know that's had that injury was one of my college coaches, Jerry Stovall, and he says it's without a doubt the most painful injury he ever had.
Well, Horn's going to tough it up and come out to the near sideline, actually holding his back as he gets into his position on 3rd and 13 from the Carolina 46. Blake retreats, looks under pressure. He pulls it down, now throws it up. Incomplete, intended for Reed. He was being covered by Doug Evans. There is a flag down in the Saint backfield holding against New Orleans. And don't know if the Panthers will take this penalty. It doesn't look like they will as they bring on their kicking team, awaiting the punt by Toby Goen.
Holding. Offense number 62. Penalties decline. Brings up 4th down.
Well, the Saints just, you get the feeling if they could go on 1 touchdown drive, they could put this away the way their defense is playing. But today, again, and it's not all Jeff Blake's fault, but he hasn't thrown the ball with a great deal of authority nor accuracy.
That's right. And, and that's the thing. And if he's going to lose Joe Horn, and I don't think he will, I think Joe's going to be able to continue to play, but that's going to take away one of his main weapons in the passing game.
Here's Goen punting it away. Hanging it high. Owezike comes up, calls for the fair catch, makes it at his 16-yard line. That's where the Panthers will start with 14 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. The Saints on top by 4, 10-6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Home of the Saints, the Tigers, and the Green Wave. WWL 870 AM.
Saints Fan Tours has your official Saints travel packages for all your away games at Saints Fans Tours. Packages include discounted airfare, hotel, and game tickets. Prices to Atlanta start as low as $119 per person. Saints Fan Tours, 1-877-8-SAINTS.
Wesley Walls back in the lineup, 4 catches for 53 yards. 1st and 10 for the Panthers from their 16-yard line. Burline play action. Pocket breaking down as he steps up and throws, incomplete, intended for Walls. The coverage by Keith Mitchell.
Let's go down to Kenny Wilkerson with the Abita Springs Water Saints sideline report. Kenny?
All right, officially from the Saints bench, Joe Horn has a hip contusion and a bruised left gluteal. Upstairs to you.
The old dreaded gluteal.
Yes. That's a bruised cheek. And it looks like he will continue to play and probably feel a lot worse tomorrow. 2nd and 10 from the 16-yard line. 4 wide receivers. Empty backfield for the Panthers. 3-step drop, short pass, complete at the 20-yard line. Being ridden backward is Hayes. On his back, Mark Fields. Darren Howard there as well. You see where they mark his forward progress. It looks to be a 5-yard gain up to around the 21-yard line. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
From the heart of the Crescent City, this is WWL New Orleans, an Entercom communication station, AM 870, the news, talk, and sports leader.
Panthers are 1 for 9 in third down conversions, looking at 3rd and 5 from their 21. Listen to this crowd urging on this defense that has been so stellar today. Burline drops 5 steps, well protected all the time in the world, throws the out, catch is made by Hayes, first down. Up at the 35-yard line, pushed out of bounds by Darren Perry.
Well, that was one of the few times today that Burline was able to sit back in the pocket and look at everything. He didn't get that much pressure from the Saints front 4. He was able to find Hayes down on the right sidelines, get it in there for a first down, a big gain.
Saints blitzed Keith Mitchell belatedly. It was well picked up. And Donald Hayes, the third-year man out of Wisconsin, went up and made the reception for the first down at the Carolina 35. 1st and 10 Panthers, 12:48 to play fourth quarter. Saints leading it by a score of 10-6. Burline handing it off. Biakabatuka. Biakabatuka strung out, and he'll go down in the arms of Darren Smith with Mark Fields giving him some help. But one of the things that really made that play was how well Kevin Mathis stood up there and run support the little corner.
Kevin Mathis is a very tough individual out there. You know, that's the one thing that all the years that I spent scouting in college is that you wouldn't find many cornerbacks that'll come up there and run support and fight and make sure that you turn things inside where the pursuit can get to it. Kevin Mathis has done that very well this season. I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
Well, Wesley Walls was in there earlier, but apparently he has taken himself out again of the ball game after the catch by Hayes. 2nd and 9 from the Carolina 36. Quick count. Here's Burline throwing. Ball is tipped, and it is incomplete. Dropped by Hayes. Almost intercepted by Weary as a Saint on-rushing defender got his hand on that ball, tipped it up in the air, and it hung up there precariously. Incomplete is the call.
Jim, you know, it almost looked like Hayes had the ball but never had control of it, and he went ahead and dropped it so it wouldn't be ruled a fumble.
Yeah, he juggled it, and rather than try to bring it in and maybe drop it and anyway be caught for a loss,
right?
Be caught for a loss, he decided to just let it go through his hands.
All right, let's go, defense.
3rd and 9 from the Carolina 36. Walls is not in the ball game. 3 wide receivers. Saints moving around on defense, showing blitz. Here's Burline dropping. Saints coming. Burline throws it up for grabs. Incomplete. He's buried. Glover had him, and there's going to be a flag thrown. Mitchell has him. The flag was thrown as everybody's lying on the ground back there at the 20-yard line. There are 2 flags.
Jim, yeah, well, they threw one in the secondary. I don't know what for.
Now, if that's going to be roughing the passer, that's one of the latest flags I've ever seen, and apparently that will be one of them, but there's another one upfield at the 45-yard line of the Panthers.
Both teams on the play. Holding, defense number 24. Intentional grounding, offense number 7. It fouls out set. They're down.
Intentional grounding was the call as he got the ball away, but there was no receiver that they deemed close enough to catch it.
Well, this will give the Saints fans out here another opportunity to put up another loud roar for the defense and another 3rd down situation.
There were 3 Saints closing in on Burline as he threw that ball up for grabs. But offsetting penalties will give him another opportunity from the Carolina 36-yard line. 3rd and 9 from the Carolina 36, and you can hear the roar of the Superdome crowd in the background. This defense has performed so well, asking him to do so once more. 3rd and 9 from the Carolina 36, 2 wideouts, back split behind Burline. Saints showing blitz, coming with 5. Burline retreats, steps up, throws, and it's going to be caught up around midfield. The catch is made by Donald Hayes for the first down. Darren Perry on the coverage, but he couldn't prevent the conversion.
Burline took another big shot right there just as he released the ball. I mean, I don't know how much longer the guys can be able to stand up to that. You and I have talked about it, how tough he is, but I mean, he is taking some punishment.
He got nailed right in the chest and went down heavily. That was a good throw under duress and a real good catch by Hayes, a big 6'4" target who goes up to get it. 1st and 10 for the Panthers from the Saint 49-yard line, 11:14 to play. Saints leading at 10-6. Berline hands off. Biakabatuka running room left side, stacked up short of the Saint 45-yard line. Give him 4 on the carry. Darren Smith on the stop. Well, the Saints defense has played so well, but they have to stiffen here because you get the feeling they've got to force a field goal and not a touchdown, given how poorly the Saints have moved the ball through much of this game offensively. It would be difficult for them to overcome a deficit. Saints defense urged on once more, 2nd and 6 from the Saint 45. Back split behind Berline. Wideouts left and right. He's well protected this time. Throws it upfield behind Hayes. Incomplete. Fred Weary on the coverage. Darren Perry converging.
Well, Berline's, he's getting a little bit jumpy back there in the pocket right now. He's a little bit unsettled. For good reason. The guy has taken a pounding back there in the pocket today. He's still bouncing up and getting back in the huddle. But, when you keep taking hits like that and shots right when you throw the ball, it will make you a little nervous.
And another big 3rd down opportunity here for the Panthers. 3rd and 6 from the Saint 45-yard line. Hayes split out wide to the left. Muhsin Muhammad wide right. Berline retreats lots of time. Steps up. Now the pocket breaks down, and down he goes at midfield. Jared Tomich was coming on the initial pass rush, and Willie Whitehead, I believe it was Whitehead, got in there and got him. It was, and the Saints get another sack, their 4th of the day.
And what they did on that particular one is they didn't blitz anybody. They did it with a 4-man front.
And also playing a couple of fresh guys in there on that pass rush. And that's where it came from. Jared Tomich battling a double team was the first guy in there. Here's Walter, another skyscraper of a punt. Morton comes up and fields it with a fair catch at his 26-yard line. A 24-yard punt. The Saints defense gets the ball back for their offense once more. Can they do anything with it with 9:51 to play and leading by a score of 10-6? This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
For details at Napa Auto Parts and your Budweiser retailer on how you can win a hunting or fishing trip with me at the fabulous Beau Rivage Sportsman's Lodge.
Great place, I understand. Hope to enjoy that with you one of these days. 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line of New Orleans. They move it right to left. 9:51 to play in a tight game that's anyone's at the moment. Ricky Williams, right side for a couple, perhaps.
Well, I'm sure they're going to get in there and stack up the line of scrimmage and say, all right, we know that Joe Horn's a little bit banged up. You really haven't done anything else in the passing game. Let's stop Ricky, and this gives us an opportunity to stop your offense.
Lamont Hall has seen a lot of playing time in this game, as the Saints have been utilizing a 2 tight end offense much of the time, and that's what they have in there now. Both lined up to the left. 2nd and 8 from the 28. Ricky Williams runs over that direction and has a substantial carry up close to the 35-yard line.
Jim, you can just see it when the ball is snapped. The linebackers are coming in there. They're just flying straight ahead forward, just trying to fill up the running lane anywhere they can to prevent Ricky from getting any more yardage.
The Saints looking at 3rd and 1 here. And if anybody but Ricky Williams gets it, it'll be a surprise to most. 3rd and 1 from the 35. It is Ricky, stacked up at the line of scrimmage, no gain on the play. And that's pretty much what it's come down to. It's just Ricky Williams again today.
That's right, and that it makes it very difficult, for the rest of the offense, because you pretty well given the defense, this is our game plan. We're going to give it to Ricky. Now it's your job to stop him.
And it's a quick 3 and out for this Saints offense, and the defense back on their feet, ready to come back on to try to protect this 10-6 lead. A lead that the Saints had at halftime. No scoring in the 3rd quarter, none so far in the 4th. 8 minutes and 17 seconds. They step it to the up back. It's a fake. Saints have a 1st down and more. It's Oldham. Oldham's inside the 40. Oldham brought down from behind at the 26-yard line.
Oh, let me check that. That might be
That's Fred
McAfee.
McAfee. Yeah, Freddie comes in here. I tell you what a great time to call that fake. Saw him do it at practice this week. Snapped it back there to Fred. Fred still got the speed. Takes it up the sideline. Big game. Now he puts the Saints back in control.
Freddie McAfee it was, pardon me, the up back who got the snap and picks up the first down all the way down to the 25-yard line of Carolina as the Saints go for the fake the first time this season, and it pays off in a huge play. A 40-yard gain from Fred McAfee, who took the snap, ran right, and there was nobody home for the Panthers. The Saints are going to take a timeout here.
New Orleans, their first.
Their first timeout with 7:25 to play in the fourth quarter. Let's see if the Saints can capitalize on the big play. They lead it 10-6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Big shot his counterpart, Scott O'Brien, the special teams coach of the Panthers, as Fred McAfee goes on the longest run of the season thus far for the Saints, 40 yards on the fake as the up back down to the Carolina 25. And what a way to change the momentum in this thing. And now it's up to Saints to capitalize on it. 1st and 10 from the Carolina 25-yard line. Horn in motion right to left. Play action, look out Blake. He throws it up for grabs in the midst of a lot of defenders. It's incomplete. The Panthers were not buying that fake and the bootleg, and Blake, when he saw a defender in his face, and that might have been Mike Rucker, just threw it up in the area that he hoped a receiver would be.
Well, I think what he did, he just kind of threw it to a dead area on the field right there to make sure that there was going to be nobody there to catch it and not get called for some kind of intentional grounding.
2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line of the Panthers. Saints leading at 10-6. 2 wideouts to the right, 2 to the left. Blake can't find anybody. Scampering around in the pocket. He's going to roll to his right, look for a block, buy time, still continue to run, being chased, throwing on the run, and is going to be, was it caught down at the 7-yard line? Ricky Williams, what a catch on the sideline. 1st and goal, New Orleans.
The guy can't do anything more this ball game. He's picked up the defenders when they come blitzing, the linebackers, Reggie White. He's run the ball with authority now. He comes up with one of the best catches I've ever seen, especially from a running back.
He laid out, kept his feet in bounds, just like a wide receiver would do, and give Blake a lot of credit. He was scampering around there for his life, and finally spotted Ricky Williams for a 19-yard gain down to the 6-yard line. 1st and goal, New Orleans from the Carolina 6. The Saints lead at 10-6. A touchdown would be huge. Ricky Williams misses 1 tackle in the background, in the backfield, and is able to get back to about the 5-yard line. He gains about a yard on the play. He could have been dropped for a loss.
That was a nifty little bit of running right there by Ricky. I mean, it gains very little if it gained anything. But I'll tell you what, I mean, he's fixing to be thrown for a loss in the backfield. Just that little stutter step was enough for him to find a little daylight and get positive yardage at least.
Got to put this thing in the end zone. 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. 2 wideouts to the right. Backs offset behind Blake. Horn in motion right to left. Blake rolling to his right, looking, still looking, now throwing, and it is incomplete. At the back of the end zone, a flag will be thrown. It's going to be holding against Doug Evans. It was intended for Jake Reed. Reed got up pleading his case, and the official then threw the flag and threw it directly into the stomach of Doug Reed, insult to injury.
That's right, and I think that what happened is Jake Reed actually turned around and was looking at one of the other officials, trying to plead his case, and never really saw the flag get thrown.
Our referee is Mike Carey, and he's about to tell us about it. Now, I think what they probably will have to determine is what infraction it has been.
I think he called holding was his initial signal that he gave.
Pass interference. Defense number 33.
That's a better one.
The ball is spot on the 1-yard line.
Yeah, it's at the 1 now because it's pass interference. 1st and goal, New Orleans from the Carolina 1. The Saints were down here at the 3 in the second quarter, rather in the first quarter, and turned the ball over on a blown exchange. 1st and goal from the 1. Do they hand the keys to victory to their designated diver? That's Ricky Williams. He's up, and he is just short. Williams went airborne. We had to await the call. He's about 3 inches short of breaking the plane of the goal line.
Well, even right there, Jeff Blake, when he pulls out a center, he's got a little bobble in the ball. Good thing he got a handle on that thing to get it to Ricky.
You're right. Almost another catastrophic missed exchange down deep in Panther territory. 2nd and goal from the 1. Ends in tight. Backs in an eye. Saints have Milne in there as a blocking back on the wing left. He rolls right. Play action. Blake rolls right. Throws to the back of the end zone. Incomplete. Glover was wide open. 8 yards deep in the end zone. You could have thrown it to him underhand.
And then that's the problem with something. When a guy is that wide open, you try and guide the ball instead of just rearing back and throwing it. You don't have to try and knock him down. But you can see right there, Jeff just looked like he was just trying to guide it and just push the ball. Andrew Glover will never be any more open than that. Great play call.
He's 6'6", but if he were 7'6", he might have had a better chance. So now it is 3rd and goal from the 1. This is Ricky Williams. This is Ricky Williams in the end zone.
Ricky wasn't going to be denied that time. He said, look, we've got this thing down here before. We're not going to take a chance on coming away from here without a touchdown. He barrels in his 2nd touchdown of the game, his 2nd in the dome.
He and Joe Horn do a little slap fighting on the sideline as they come to the Saints bench. Everybody in this place, 50,000 strong, on their feet because the Saints have finally punched another into the end zone.
And Jim, now through the end of the season, Domino's Pizza will give you $6 off the regular menu price on your pizza order on Monday. Call Domino's.
Ricky Williams has done it all here today. He's thrown passes. He's made a huge reception to keep this drive alive. He has capped it with a touchdown plunge, and Doug Bryan adds the extra point. With 5:16 to play in the Superdome, the Saints in the battle for 2nd place in the NFC West lead the Carolina Panthers 17-6. This is the New Orleans Saints. 55 minutes of this game, the Panthers have been unable to score a touchdown. They must score 2 in the final 5:16 to deprive the Saints of this victory here today. With that touchdown by Williams, the Saints run their margin to 11 points. 17-6 is our score, but the very dangerous Michael Bates awaits the go-and kickoff at the Carolina 2. Goin kicks it away, aiming for the far sideline. Bates will take it in at the 3. He's up to the 10, to the 15. He's to the 20, and he won't get any farther than that.
And there's a flag on the play.
And a flag has been thrown on the play. Fred Thomas makes a great open field tackle.
I'll tell you, one of the guys you can credit for that was Jared Thomas. He was a kamikaze going down there. He hit the wedge. There was 3 blockers in the wedge. He just left his feet and went through it. Looked like a javelin flying through the air and just splattered the entire wedge.
Like a bowling ball into the 1-3 pocket. Kenny Wilkerson's on the sideline. Kenny?
Well, as you can imagine, they're excited down here on the bench. At the same time, Jim Haslett walking around to all of his players and reminding them there's still 5 minutes to play in this game. Pointing to his head, telling them, think, don't get smart. You got to win this football game. The only way to do it is to play sound for the next 5 minutes. Jim?
All right, Kenny, thanks very much. Boy, during the break after that Williams touchdown, it was like old times. It's like a decade had been removed from this franchise.
I'll tell you what, I mean, if that doesn't send the chills up your spine, listen to this crowd. People were on their feet, dancing to the music, just having a big time, saying, all right, we know we got control of this thing. Now they're really going to go crazy.
1st and 10 for the Panthers from their 10. Burline should have to throw on nearly every play. Dumps it off. Second and 10 from the 10-yard line. These fans don't want to sit down, nor do they want to stop cheering. 5:01 to play. Saints leading 17-6. Same formation on every down for the Panthers. They're in a throwing all the time possibility. And down goes Burline back at the 5-yard line. Darren Howard gets him this time for the Saints' 5th sack of the day.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, if you're a Carolina fan, you've got to feel a little bit sorry for Steve Burline, because I'm telling you, that guy is going to be sore when he wakes up tomorrow. He'll have an ice bag on every square inch of his body tomorrow.
They're trying to run things more quickly here at the line of scrimmage. Burline's going to make the call. 3rd and 15 from the 5. Scampers up in the end zone, and down he goes again. Joe Johnson gets him at the 3.
Joe said, I hadn't had a sack this game. It's about time for me to get on hit parade. Gets back there in the backfield, sacks Burline as he steps up trying to find somebody.
The 6th sack of the day. Listen to these fans for this defense. They wanted to know around the NFL, did the Saints deserve to be the #1 defense in the league? Off their showing today, they more than did. They have just played incredible football. Here's Walters' wobbly punt with room to run from the 41-yard line of Panthers. Here goes Morton streaking down the near sideline, bounced out of bounds at the 30-yard line of Carolina.
Man, if you just look at the energy on the sidelines and the stands, I mean, it's just awesome to sit here and watch it.
Man, it is. If you could harness this energy, they could let energy leave the city, and it would be no problem, because everybody in this place, no one has left. Few people are sitting down, and this is one that they're going to savor for a long, long time, although there are 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, but the Saints seemingly in control.
Jim, that was the Panthers' 9th punt of the ball game. I mean, their punter has been a very busy man today. He'll have ice on his leg tomorrow, too.
Well, the Saints come up to the line of scrimmage with 4:10 remaining. The line of scrimmage being the Carolina 31. Ricky Williams gets the call, hit at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to go down as 3 of the Panthers converge on him, led by Jay Williams, the defensive end. But Williams staying in bounds. Clock is running. Panthers have all 3 timeouts left for them. The clock shows 3 minutes and 50 seconds, and it's winding down on what the Saints hope will be their 3rd victory of this season. A chance to get to 500, and who knows where they go from there. But they had to get there first.
I want you to just watch on this defense snap how many people they're going to have in the box up there, knowing that Ricky's going to be the man running the ball.
He's had 37 carries today. His record is 40. 2nd and 12 from the 33. Ricky Williams scoots through a bit of a crevice, and he's going to be tripped up, gets back to his feet, but they will rule him down by contact at the 29-yard line of the Panthers.
Oh, if he doesn't get tripped up right there, there's a safety back there. It's going to be looking at that number 34, getting closer and closer to him.
Panthers take their first timeout. They have 2 remaining, 3:16 left in this ball game. The Saints lead 17-6. After a scoreless first quarter, the Saints went on top 7-0 on a Ricky Williams 2-yard run. The Panthers finally countered with a 52-yard Nedney field goal, 7-3. Bryan hit one for the Saints, 10-3. Then Nedney, a 46-yarder on the last play of the first half, cut the Saint lead to 10-6. After a scoreless third quarter, the Saints finally went on a 10-play, 74-yard drive in 4 minutes and 34 seconds, capped by a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Ricky Williams with 5:16 left. That was a 3rd and goal carry from the 1. The Saints went on top by the current margin they enjoy, 17-6. And in that drive, probably the biggest play apart from the touchdown was the reception by Ricky Williams on the Blake scramble along the sideline.
And it's no surprise. I mean, for people that hadn't really seen Ricky catch the ball, I mean, he can do that, and that right there shows what a complete back he is.
He's rushed for 144. Passed for 34 and received for 35. That's a complete performance. On 3rd down, Blake's going to pump, throw for Horn in the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown! There is a flag down back at the 20-yard line.
That can't be anything but defensive interference. That's the only thing it could be.
That's exactly what it is. And this is a football team that when they get the opportunity to put you away under these guys, they put you away.
That's right. And I tell you what, you've really got to be impressed with what they've done here for the last couple of series that they've had the ball. And Jim, through the rest of the season, Domino's Pizza will give you $6 off the regular menu price on your pizza order on Monday, but call Domino's.
A 29-yard touchdown strike. Blake to Joe Horn. For Horn, his 5th touchdown reception of this season, and that is the final nail in the Carolina Panthers coffin. They beat Doug Evans, and that's the guy you want to work on. He's the weaker of the 2 cornerbacks, and they finally were able to victimize him for the touchdown. Doug Bryan adds the extra point, and with 3:10 to play in quarter number 4, it's the Saints 24 and the Panthers 6. For Joe Horn, that is his 36th catch of the season, and that's a new career high for him.
And you know, he's only going to be about halfway to where he's going to be when the season's total's over with. I mean, he's become the #1 man now.
3 plays as the Saints go 31 yards in 1 minute and take a 24-6 lead. And I think one of the things that you recognize about this team, look at the acquisitions they've made and how much they have helped this club. This is an organization that now knows what they need and who can help them, and they're not afraid to go out and get them.
Right, and you know what? There was something that Kenny kept bringing up all during training camp. He said, if these guys just come in here and do what they've been doing, the Saints will be a better football team for it. But right here, you got a guy, Joe Horn, that has just surpassed his career high in number of receptions. So Joe Horn is actually doing more than what he had done in the years that he spent in Kansas City, which therefore makes the Saints a much better team.
Here's Toby going to kick it away. As a love fest between this football team and its fans continues from the 6. Bates to the 20, and he is going to get to the 22 and no farther. Jared Tomich has been an absolute kamikaze on special teams today.
They're going to call the Saints offsides right there, Jim.
And I guess that's a little bit of adrenaline too, isn't it?
Yeah, probably so. I mean, you get out there, you're so pumped up, and I mean, and like with the new rule in the league right now, if anybody part of your body
on the kicking team, number 50, 5-yard penalty.
Is across that line, the flag is coming out.
That's right. They have made it more stringent this year. The Saints were penalized. I think it was Rob Kelly was penalized for that in the last game, was he not?
On the 25-yard line.
You know, and it's kind of hard to fault a guy when he's that pumped up and he's so into the game. I mean, yeah, sure, you've got to keep your wits about you. But, I mean, on a kickoff, something like that, I mean, there's a guy wanting to go down the field and get in on the play.
Toby Goen comes to the Saints sideline, and Jim Haslett has a word of advice for him. And Haslett's also going to chew on the umpire for a while over the call. In the meantime, Al Everest, having talked to his Saints special teams unit, comes to the sideline, and he wants an explanation from the umpire. And so the Saints will have to do it again, but this time from their 25-yard line. It's just great, the tight shots on the network broadcast to see the faces of the Saints sitting on the bench, the offensive linemen who played so hard today, and oftentimes through so many difficult times, the exuberance, the spirit, the friendship, the camaraderie, the teamwork, it's all there in the faces of those Saints as they sit on the bench and stand along it with the Saints on top 24-6 with 3:02 to play in the fourth quarter. The Saints with a pair of fourth quarter touchdowns to apparently break this game open and put it away. Goen will do it again from the 25-yard line. Bates stands at his 8. 3:02 remaining in this game. Goen approaches the football. Everybody's on sides, and this is a good kick. Down to the 4-yard line. Bates to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, 25. He's up to the 30, he's up to the 40, and Toby, you ain't going nowhere, makes another tackle. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
From the heart of the Crescent City, this
authority of the National Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is strictly prohibited.
A 39-yard return. You do it so well, and you can't tell you're reading it. I think that's a good thing.
I know that, but I love this job.
He just committed it to memory. 39-yard return by Bates. 1st and 10 Panthers from their 43. And it's a new quarterback, Jeff Lewis, who's in there, and he throws a one-hopper to Biaka Batuka as he's under the rush. Apparently they've decided that they'll save Steve Berline for another day, and the other day for them will come next week when they host the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, Jeff Lewis was rudely greeted by the New Orleans Saints defense right there, that they got pressure on him, but they didn't knock him down on that first one.
He delivered it before they could get to him. So Steve Berline, who came into this game suffering from a case of the flu, will have other maladies to contend with in the days ahead after he was subjected to a fierce Saints rush and dumped 6 times. 2nd and 10 from the Carolina 43. Lewis, and now it's going to be his turn.
Leroy Glover again.
His 7th sack of the day for the Saints.
I mean, this is the time in the ball game right now when, whether you're on offense or defense, I mean, you love these kind of games. You're ahead. You know that the momentum's going your way. You're pretty well having the way with the Carolina offensive line. And these are the most fun football games that you can play in.
It'll bring up 3rd and 11 from the Carolina 42. Well, Leroy Glover was the NFC Defensive Player of the Week last week. I'm sure there'll be some great performances around the NFL this weekend, but I'd have to think Ricky Williams deserves some consideration for Offensive Player of the Week this week after his performance here today. 3rd and 11 from the 42. Lewis throws short. Biakabatuka wants no part of it. Lets it go through his hands, incomplete. And down goes Lewis as he was dropped by Glover. And the Carolina Panthers, who were a very chippy group earlier in this game, are resigned to the outcome of this one with 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes left. 24-6 our score. Saints on top. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
No challenges in this half, but when we have one, it'll be brought to you by Hibernian National Bank, the official bank of the Saints. Make Hibernia your official bank. Trust all your financial needs with the one you know. That's Hibernia, where service matters.
Keith Mitchell out on the field, leading the crowd in the wave as the Saints whoop it up on the long end of a 24-6 score with 2 minutes remaining. Interesting stat that our statistician Brian Lazar compiled during the break. I'll inform you of that right after this. As the last gasp, perhaps, for the Panthers arrives, 4th and 11 from the Carolina 42. Lewis retreats. Lewis under pressure. Lewis down again. And Keith Mitchell has him back at the 28-yard line. That is the 8th sack of the day for the Saints.
You know, unlike last week's game, Jim, at the end of the game, when the game was in hand, the Saints backed off and they played a very loose defense and kind of let Chicago chip away and gain some yards. This week, Ron Zook said, look, let's just go after him right here and let's put a final exclamation point on this outstanding defensive effort that we've had today.
Well, as Brian informed us, if this score holds, this will be the first time since the last 2 games of the 1991 season that the Saints have won back-to-back games by at least 2 touchdowns.
And when was the last time you saw the Benson Boogie?
I think it's about to occur. Tom Benson makes his way to the sideline. I can't honestly tell you the last time he has been down there in a situation like this. Terrell Smith runs it on 1st down for the Saints. The way things have gone for the last 8 years, he might have been in the witness protection program.
Well, he's fired up down there. I mean, he knows he's on the right track right now with this new coaching staff and the new administration, and the players are playing good. I mean, there's just been so many times in the past where the team was flat by this time of the season. Right now, not only are these guys, you know, winning 2 games, they've been in every game. So they've been competitive, and that gives Mr. Benson a lot of reasons to be upbeat.
Saints bringing in some reserves along the offensive line. Willie Rowe gets a chance to come out of the ball game and gets a well-deserved rest as he's replaced by Darrell Terrell. 2nd and 8 for the Saints from the Carolina 28. Terrell Smith gets the call, and the fullback down to around the 21-yard line.
Oh, he's going to be exhausted after this game. That's his 3rd carry.
Well, the final minute has arrived. The Panthers can stop the clock twice more. They don't seem to be inclined to do so, as they have been a thoroughly and soundly beaten football team here today by the New Orleans Saints.
Well, they had to face a punishing running attack by Ricky Williams and the Saints offensive line, and when they turned around and got their hands on the ball, the defense was just relentless all day, getting in the backfield, gave them absolutely no room to run, you know, punished their receivers after the catch, and really throttled their running backs.
3rd and 1 from the 22. Terrell Smith again has the 1st down. 4 of the Panthers converge to bring him down, but that's a 1st down. The clock will continue to run. The Saints don't have to run another play. And just listen to this crowd celebrate a 24-6 New Orleans victory.
Kenny, what you got?
All right, down here with Joe Johnson, Joe. I see you huffing and puffing a little bit. You got the chance there in the end there to go get yourself one.
Oh, yeah. You know, hey, this Saints football right here, 60 minutes, baby. Ricky running the ball, defense playing good ball. As long as we play like this throughout the year, we're going to be all right.
You got a little taste of these kind of crowds years ago. You think a lot of the players on this team are realizing what this dome and what this building can do?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is our first win at home, but we plan to make this a tradition. We got to win at home and win some on the road. So to be at home is a great feeling. We got to take advantage of it.
Concede there by the Panthers at the end, not even to bring Berline back out there.
Oh, yeah, he was in bad condition. So, you know, we just keep playing ball, no matter who lines up back there.
Thanks, Joe. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
All right, Joe Johnson down there on the field, standing back upstairs for you guys for right now.
All right, Kenny, thank you very much. We'll take a timeout and step aside for a moment as the Saints and their fans celebrate a 24-6 victory over the Carolina Panthers. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Here in the press box, Larry Matson with you. And let's go right down to the sideline. We've got Kenny Wilkerson.
And standing here watching with Joe Horn, watching Tom Benson dance a little bit. Joe, you want to go teach him how to do it?
Oh, he definitely know how to do it. He deserves it, man. Hey, Mr. Benson has worked his ass off, man. I mean, all this while he had the team trying to get something good going here. Everything's going good right now. We just need to keep it going, man, because he's a hell of an owner.
How are you physically right now? I know you came down pretty hard on your tailbone.
Yeah, it's just a little minor injury. I'll be back, though. I'm a soldier. I'll be back.
Joe, that you could walk as you're making your way to the locker room here. Obviously, this offense had chances even earlier on to get a big to come out and get a big lead like they end up with the game. But you know, it's just the way it goes in games sometimes.
We just decided, man, that, hey, we weren't going to be denied, man. Guys was crying, man. Hey, we weren't going to be denied, man. We had to win a game here for the fans, man. They deserve it. You know what I'm saying? We deserve it. But, hey, we're making a lot of money, man. We got to come out here and make plays and do how we getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Let's make big plays, man.
Thank you, Joe. Congratulations. Joe Horn down here on the field. With that, I'll send it upstairs to you, Larry. We'll be talking to you from the locker room shortly.
All right, no doubt about that. And all players interviewed in the locker room receive a gift certificate from Oakland Heart Jewelers. Shop with the Saints shop. That's Oakland Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Once again, the final score, the Saints 24 and the Carolina Panthers 6. Stay tuned for the post-game show coming up next on the North
Highlights. Brought to you by your friendly Dodge dealers. Dodge, different. Abita Springs Water, the official bottled water of the Saints. Cintas, the uniform people. Rouse's Market, Louisiana's network.
Welcome back to the Dome, everyone. Larry Matson with Hokie Gajan in the press box. We'll be going down to the locker room shortly with Kenny Wilkerson and taking a look at some final team stats and some final team numbers and also the scoring. The Saints scored 10 points in the second quarter. They had 14 more points in the final quarter to put this one away at 24-6 the final. But Hokie, they gave up only 10 yards rushing.
Unbelievable. I mean, even if you look at total net yards, 141, I mean, there's no doubt about it. They're going to retain that number one ranking after this week. But for a lot of the naysayers that were out there, again, this is, you know, Carolina is probably not one of the more high-powered offenses in the league. But, I mean, when you go out and just give up 141 total yards, that's unbelievable.
And they gained 397 on the offensive end, 215 rushing, 182 passing, and that's a good balanced attack.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something. I mean, it's been a long time since, you know, really you've seen the Saints running game just take over a football game like this did. And, I mean, that squarely goes on the shoulders of Ricky Williams and the offensive line. You know, Mike McCarthy obviously gets a lot of credit for his play calling. I thought he was very creative today, mixed things up and, you know, kind of kept Carolina off balance. But the offensive line did a superb job, and Ricky ran hard again for the fourth straight week.
Two major factors in this one. One, you may be shaving your beard. You said you would. I don't know whether you should or not. It might be a good luck charm.
Well, that's the thing I don't know. I mean, ever since I started growing this thing, the Saints are 2-0, so I don't know. Is it a good luck charm?
Tell you what, 2 weeks, 2 games, he's got that kind of beard. It would take me 2 years to get that kind of beard. The other factor is it was River Parish Day today. St. John, St. James, and St. Charles Parish up in the Dome today, celebrating this big victory. And I know those folks driving back home are enjoying I guess the remnants of a big victory, 24-6 here today.
Absolutely. I mean, and when was the last time the Saints had this big a win at home in such a convincing manner? Those people, as you said, Larry, will have a very enjoyable ride home.
No doubt about it. More post-game comments and notes coming up right here on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Rewind some quick notes. Doug Morrow and Jim Henderson handed me some notes during the break. Listen to this, Hokie. The 10 yards rushing that was allowed today by the Saints defense is the second best ever in their history. Back in 1972, they gave up only 7 yards rushing in a ball game, but 10 today is the best since 1972. And Ricky Williams gained 144 yards running the ball, which is more offense totally than the Panthers had as a team, 141. He also added 35 receiving and 34 passing the ball. So he had quite a day today, getting over 200 yards in total offense himself, but 144 rushing was more than the entire Panther offense.
That's a pretty salty offensive output for one guy to do.
No doubt about that. And let's check out now the big shot of the game, brought to you by Big Shot Soft Drinks. 16 great flavors for the South. The Saints had 8 sacks. This was the first one back in the first quarter. A 3rd down 11 from the 40. And, well, I'll just let you listen to Jim Henderson's call.
3rd and 11 from the Carolina 40. Saints loading up their blitz package again. 3 wide receivers. Here they come up the middle. It's picked up. Burline looks for the screen. He won't be able to set it up, and down he goes. Leroy Glover has him back at the 25-yard line.
Leroy Glover just never stops. I mean, the guy is coming at you every play and constantly just keeps moving. Always finishes the play. Records his 7th sack of the season.
And that was his 7th sack of the year, and it was a 13-yard loss on the play, and it kept that shutout going at the time. In fact, the only scores today were 2 field goals for the Panthers, 52 yards on the first one and 46 on the second one. Well, let's go to some of the action of today's game. A 9-play, 58-yard drive started the scoring for the Saints. It consumed 3:53 off the clock, and it was the first touchdown in the Superdome for Ricky Williams. This one capped off that 58-yard drive from 2 yards out.
We will mark it officially at the 1-yard line, where it will be 2nd and goal. Ends in tight. Handoff Williams. Williams to the goal line. He's in.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Got in there, got those pads right down in behind the right side of the offensive line. It hit it. And Jim, for the rest of the season, Domino's Pizza will give you $6 off the regular menu price on your pizza.
All right, then that gave the Saints the lead, of course, at the time, and of course they never did trail in this football game as they got the scoring going. The next one was a field goal that gave the Saints a 10-3 lead. This one coming off the foot of Doug Bryan.
And on comes Doug Bryan, who had an earlier attempt from 51 deflected. This will be a 29-yarder from the right hash mark with going to hold. Snap is back, placement is down, kick is up, and the Saints put more points on the board on a 29-yard Doug Bryan field goal, and with just 13 seconds remaining in quarter number 2, our score is now the Saints 10 and the Panthers 3.
And that's the way the first half would end. Or actually, they get another field goal, made it 10-6 at halftime. That's the only scoring for the first half the Saints had, at any rate. And then in the fourth quarter, no scoring in the third. In the fourth quarter, the Saints put it away on a 10-play, 74-yard drive, consuming 4:34 off the clock. Again, it was Ricky Williams, this time from only a yard out, but it was a big touchdown to give the Saints a 17-6 lead.
So now it is 3rd and goal from the 1. This is Ricky Williams. This is Ricky Williams in the end zone!
Ricky wasn't going to be denied that time. He said, look, we've got this thing down here before. We're not going to take a chance on coming away from here without a touchdown. He barrels in his 2nd touchdown of the game, his 2nd in the dome.
And the final score was a 29-yard touchdown pass from Blake DeHorn that capped a 3-play drive that only took a minute off the clock. But this one definitely put it away. It was pretty much put away at 17-6. But this one was like salt in the wounds, made it 24-6.
On 3rd down, Blake's going to pump. Throw for Horn in the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown! There is a flag down back at the 20-yard line.
That can't be anything but defensive interference. That's the only thing it could be.
That's exactly what it is.
All right, and that didn't go against the Saints, thank goodness, and the Saints pulled it out 24-6, the final. More post-game notes and comments coming up right here on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Dome once again. Hokie, time to choose that task force staffing services star performer of the game. And I'll tell you, Ricky Williams had a great game, 144 yards rushing. We talked about his passing and his receiving. We also talked about Leroy Glover getting his 7th and 8th sack of the year. 8 total sacks by the defense. 9 punts forced. Who's the player of the game?
Well, it would be mighty easy to choose Ricky, and I mean, you certainly deserve him, but I'd like to give it to the entire Saints defense because that was the unit that won the football game for the Saints. Early on, the Saints had a couple of turnovers and could have got down on themselves. Defense came out there, 10 yards total rushing, 141 net yards. I mean, I think that entire defensive unit kind of deserves a round of applause because it was just a fantastic outing today.
And they are the star performers of the day. And if you need a star performer for an hour, a day, a week, or even a month, call Task Force Staffing Services. Let's go down to the locker room right now with Jim Haslett and, of course, Kenny Wilkerson.
All right. Thank you very much, Larry. Down here with the head coach, and you just finished up your press conference. 2 in a row. Not bad.
No, it's a great win for the players, and I told them all week, as hard as they practice, they deserve to win the game, and we hung in there. We were struggling in some areas early, but I thought the defense played well the whole game, and the offense picked it up when it was time to pick it up. So to their credit, really, you take away those turnovers, and we played pretty good football the whole day.
You've learned a lot about your football team. I think it looks like they've learned a lot about themselves.
I think they like playing together. I think it's fun for them again. And they're enjoying playing, running around together. You can see the camaraderie coming together. We're doing a good job running the football on offense. We did a great job today stopping the run on defense, and special teams played well today. For the most part, except for the one decision by Chad, but for the most part, I thought they played pretty good football.
Jim, as long as you've been around the NFL, I mean, how good of a sign or how much of a sign is it that a team and players can come back and keep coming back even after mistakes, after bad things happen to them, and it's almost like they've just totally put it behind them? Some teams don't do that.
Good football teams in this league overcome adversity, and we talk about it all the time. Something bad will happen during a game, and as long as you don't panic and you're patient and you just kind of react to what they're doing, you'll be all right. And our team does a pretty good job of overcoming adversity.
Very physical out there today. I mean, how and why there weren't more calls made. I mean, on both sides of the ball for the fighting and everything, I don't know. But, I mean, it looked like these two teams don't like each other too much.
Well, obviously, that's a good football team. They do a lot of good things, and we just got some breaks at the end of the game, and obviously win the game. But, for the most part, that's a heck of a team, and I think they were ranked 8th in offense. They were number 3 last year in offense, so I thought our defense played well, and I thought our offense for the players they have on defense, the Reggie Whites and the Eric Swans and Sean Gilberts and all the corners in it. I mean, I thought we did a pretty good job.
Jim, you said during the week that to win one at home would be big, and you want to do it for the fans. The fans, are behind this football team and everything like that. Obviously, you got that accomplished today, and they played a factor in this game, didn't they?
Well, I thought they did. They, it's nice. I think, we play pretty good road football for whatever reason, and we got to get accustomed to playing at home and getting the crowd behind us, and I thought the crowd was great today. Hopefully, when we come back here and, we get a couple more wins, we come back here, that we'll have a packed house, and they'll back us.
I know that, everyone's happy with the way Ricky runs the football, but when he made that catch near the end, is that, one of the things that should tell a lot of people of what kind of football player he is?
When I got here, people keep saying that, he doesn't have great hands. He doesn't, small hands he can't catch. Well, I've seen nothing but the contrary. I mean, he had 25 receptions going into the game, and, he does a heck of a job. He had 3 more today, and, he just does everything you ask him to do, and he's a heck of a blocker.
Mr. Benson's down there dancing. Did you notice? Did you see that?
I didn't see it, but I have to have a talk with him.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations. All right, Jim Haslett down here in the locker room, and Larry, I'll send it back upstairs to you, and we'll start talking to some more of the players.
Real good. The Jim Haslett locker room interview is brought to you by Discount Auto Parts, the right part right away. And Hokie, he mentioned about how the team is coming together and doing things off the field. I went to the Lakers-Hornets game earlier in the week at the arena, and it was kind of funny. I was sitting on the sideline behind the bench, and behind me was Kyle Turley and Jerry Fontenot. They went to the game together, and I sat right behind them on the plane. I wanted to turn around and say, this is the other side. I'm seeing the front side of you. I always see the back of your heads on the plane.
A little role reversal there.
That's right. But they were there together, and saw several other Saints there as well. All right, more post-game comments coming up right here on the Northern Saints Radio Network. Punch Locker Room Show on the Saints Radio Network. Let's go right down to the locker room with Kenny Wilkerson.
Okay, Larry, down here, as you can well imagine, all the players excited, happy, everybody in a good mood. Terrell Smith talking to the media right now. We're going to listen into some of that and start asking questions ourselves here in a second.
A fullback is like a guy who's out there who knows his job, and he knows what he has to do. He comes to the game. It's like you got to be a hitman. I go out, and lately a lot of linebackers have been telling me, man, you're doing a great job. You don't even look like a rookie, but it's just, you got to go out there for mentality. And if you keep that mentality, you'll be in the league a long time. That's what I think.
Terrell, you said the other day that a lot of players are coming to you already and saying, hey, you're playing good for a rookie.
Yeah, exactly. And the way I was taught is all I know is getting it done. And actions speak louder than words. I don't really, talk too much to the people that it doesn't matter to. I tell the coach, let's lead. That's what I'm here for. Let's go run lead. And they like, this dude's crazy, man. This dude wants to blast and bang people. That's what I'm about, man, I don't care when I'm out there. And it's like, if Ricky want to go through the middle, it's like, all right, let's go through the middle. Wherever you want to go, that's where I'm willing to go. And it's a mentality, like I said. And
pretty physical game out there today. When you guys played the Chargers a few weeks back, there was a lot of, jaw-jacking back and forth and everything, but nothing like today.
Exactly. It was nothing like today. A lot of linebackers, they was, quiet and not, really talking too much. What excited me today, I got a good block on Reggie White, man. And he left out the game, so that made me feel pretty good.
That's something I guess you'll probably be thinking about the rest of the day and all week, and probably talking to a lot of people, making sure they remember that you knocked Reggie White out of a game.
And then, it wasn't really a hard hit. It was just, I don't know if he was tired. I don't know. I respect him, man, well, on and off the field. A great athlete, all-time, one of my all-time favorites. But what really got me going when I walked in the locker room, Mark Fields came over to me. It's like, T, look at this. You're going to go crazy. And here it is, a picture of me in the NFL Insider today. And that's me giving Junior say how stiff on. And he's like falling off of me. And it made me feel good. So, it's starting to come around for me. I don't want to, a lot of publicity or whatever. Just watch what Rick do every week. If he got 100 yards, I did my job. And all I want to do is help the team win. That's all.
Real quick, one more question before I let you go here. Jim Haslett and I were just talking a minute ago about how this team has been able to really put the bad things behind them, the adversity, whether it's fumbles, interceptions, whatever, giving up the field position, coming right back out and getting the job done. And the persistence paid off today.
Yeah, exactly. We came in. We knew what we had to do. We were beating ourselves. It should have been 21-0, to be honest with you, because they gave up some opportunity that we should have taken advantage of. We didn't. So, but, just keep sticking to what you're doing, and it'll pay off, and that's what we did.
Terrell, thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Terrell Smith down here in the locker room, and Larry, I'm going to go back upstairs to you for right now.
And a reminder that all players interviewed in the locker room receive a gift certificate from Oakland Heart Jewelers. You can shop with the Saints shop. That's Oakland Heart to see and just like Terrell was saying, it could have easily been 21-0 in the first quarter the way things started. The opening kickoff is fumbled, and you recovered at 21, and you get nothing.
Right, and then you get down there and you have the ball on the 1 yard line, and Jeff Blake pulls out a little bit too soon. The ball comes out, and the one good thing that's is very encouraging to me is that really in the early part of the season, the Saints offense wasn't able to overcome those type of mistakes. I mean, it just seemed like the more things that happened bad to them, it just snowballed and things got a little bit worse and worse. Whereas today, once they put it behind them, they kind of got back on track and looked much better. So, as Haslett said, and as everybody's always said, I mean, when the best teams in the league are the ones that can overcome all the big mistakes and penalties and turnovers.
Let's go right downstairs now to Kenny Wilkerson to get in the locker room.
All right, thank you, Larry. Down here with tight end Andrew Glover. You knew coming into this game, Andrew, first of all, congratulations. And secondly, you knew coming in that you'd see the ball a little bit today, that Jeff was going to be trying to get it to you as often as possible. First play, exactly what we saw.
Yeah, well, I had a really good week of practice. And, Jeff has been on this game, ever since last week. We've got a bit more confidence, coming into this game because we did win last week. And I was excited about it. I had an opportunity to make a couple plays today, and I made a couple. And, the team won. I think that's the most important thing. For me, I know, I'm going to have to be vital in this offense to help this offense move the ball up and down the field. And I just have to be patient right now. I have to, let the coaches put me in a situation where I can be successful and go out and execute the play and make it work.
Seems like this whole team, you just used the word patience, has an awful lot of patience and is not panicking when bad things happen. That's, as Jim Haslett said a little while ago, a mark of a pretty good team.
Yeah, definitely. This team is getting more and more confidence in each other. I mean, we're a group of guys from, all over, from other teams, from free agents and things like that. I think they said we have 30-something new people here, and we got new management. And, sometimes it takes a little time to gel. And, I think the good thing about it, if you have veteran guys, to try to keep things on an even level. You never get too high and you never get too low. But we appreciate hard work. And today we're seeing, what happens if you go out and work hard.
And do you think that there's enough people, it seems as though there are, but do you think that there's enough people in here that understand that you guys have played 6 games and are at 500 and find yourself in not bad shape?
Well, exactly. I think, guys are understanding more and more the more we talk about it, the more we go to practice and practice like pros. And then, when things come out, on Sundays and things happen not so good, guys learn to deal with it. And then when things happen good, they said, hey, we're really glad we stuck in there and we hung in there because, look what has materialized for us. And, I think it happened like that for us today.
You okay physically?
Physically, I feel terrific. I'm excited about the win. I'm feeling healthy right now. This is not going to last long for me, probably one day, and then get ready, for next week's game.
Thank you, Andrew. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Andrew Glover down here. Larry, send it back upstairs to you.
All right, you caught me right in a bite. Boy, I tell you what, they brought some food up here, man. This is great. We've got more post-game notes and comments coming up on the Locker Room Show on the Saints Radio Network. Let's go right back down to that locker room and Kenny Wilkerson.
All right, thank you very much, Larry. Down here with running back Ricky Williams, and he's asking me how many yards. I know he was right at about 140 near the end there. What did he end up with, guys?
144 total rushing, and that was more than the total offense of the Carolina Panthers.
Okay, thank you very much. 144 total rushing, that's more than their entire offense had. Obviously, you got to feel pretty good.
It just feels good to win. I mean, I don't know. As a running back, those games are tough because you know they're going to keep on pounding the ball, and the other team knows you're going to run the ball. So you know you're going to take a beating. You just got to, you know, try to get in and get out with the victory, and we did.
You knew coming in, you talked about it during the week, going against some of these guys like Reggie White and Swan and everything. It was not going to be easy.
They were hard to block, and I had to block Reggie sometimes, and I'd go for him, and I'd look, and he wasn't anywhere to be found. I mean, to be that big, he's so quick. But, yeah, our line did a great job of keeping their defensive linemen off of Jeff and giving us some room to run the ball.
Were you surprised that this game turned out as physical as it was with the fighting?
Well, no, I mean, it's a conference foe, so there's going to be a little fighting in there. But I was surprised that it became a jumbo game. I mean, we were in so much jumbo. You know, we really only ran like 3 or 4 plays the whole game. We just kept running them, and they couldn't stop us.
I was talking about it with some of the other players and Coach Haslett about the patience that this team has shown, especially today, and it's paid off.
I don't think it was on purpose. We weren't trying to, you know, we just weren't making the big plays until the end of the game, and we got to come out there as an offense and see when defense is playing that well to just put them out of the game. And, I mean, it happened in the last drive. You saw it happens, you know, when teams playing catch-up late in the game, they got to throw the ball, and we had a lot of sacks, and, you know, they can just tee off like that. So we got to put them in a position earlier than we did this game.
And all the way around, you guys almost were your worst enemy. There in the first half, had a chance to, I mean, maybe you have a 21-0 game.
Yeah, we had the ball 1st and 10, like on the... Is that my skin? That's gross, huh? We had a chance. We had a chance to put them away early, and, you know, we had the ball 1st and goal on the 1, and then fumble the snap, and... It's tough, but we overcame and got the victory, so that's what's important.
Interesting to sit in the locker room and pull chunks of skin off yourself, isn't it?
Oh, really? Kind of sucks. Tired.
3-3, Ricky. I mean, obviously, you're going to feel pretty good about this. Yeah, no, I'm not going to ask you where you're going next. I'm going to ask you, I mean, in other words, you know, you guys and Coach Haslett stressed to you during the week how important and how much of a difference it could make for this team to get to 3-3.
I think good teams trust their teammates and trust each other, and I think the more we win, the more trust we can have in each other, and it builds confidence. Hopefully we can build on this, you know, make it 3 in a row, and make it 4 in a row, and then come back home and play whoever we play next. San Francisco.
Thank you, Rick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that's Ricky Williams down here. Guys, I'm going to send it back upstairs to you while we make our way around to see if we can get a hold of Jeff Blake.
All right, and Hokie, a quick note here. They haven't had good home field advantage today. It was, but I guess the good news is with 2 road games coming up, they played very well on the road.
That's right. Up till today, the best performances that the Saints have been on the road. So, I mean, this is going to be, this could really be a springboard for this team. I mean, I don't want to go overboard by saying, okay, they're over the hump right now. But you really look at the last 2 weeks. I mean, you know, the offense has played well. The defense has played well. Special teams have played much better. And that's the whole thing. When they go out there and they play together, you know, in some of the losses that they had, one side of the ball played good, the other side did not. But, I mean, you know, the last couple of weeks they put it together, a more complete package.
Well, let's talk about that quarterback a little bit with Kenny Wilkerson. He's got him there in the locker room.
Yeah, I actually kind of made our way out of the locker room already, as that place is starting to clear out right now, and I am with Jeff. And first of all, congratulations. You guys feel good about this. I know you're happy the way things turned out.
I'm happy but sad. You know, we really had an opportunity to show what our offense was all about today, and we muffed it up a couple of times again, and but it shows you what type of character and what type of team that we have and able to overcome, you know, the adversities that we were faced and still put points on the football, put points on this defense.
Does it matter almost of pressing a little too much on the fumble?
No. Which one?
Or first one, right there, 1st and goal.
Oh, the 1st and goal. The center had to hunker down a little bit more. I should have hunkered down a little bit more with him, you know. And, you know, sometimes it happens. If you don't ride the center when it in the goal line like that, you got to ride the center a little bit. You got to hang in there just a little bit longer, dig a little bit deeper. I wasn't in there deep enough, you know what I'm saying? So we'll work. That's something we have to work on, you know, realizing that situation. Because their D-line got really low. So what happens, the offensive line try to get just as low as the defensive line so they can get up under their pass. So when he hunkered down real low, I got to sink down just a little bit lower to give him an opportunity to get the ball up to me and ride him and just hang in there just a little bit longer.
We talked about just a day ago about having a wide open receiver and how that's the toughest thing in the world. And you had Glover there in the end zone. It just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out, but we still scored. Right. We still scored, and I know everybody's going to pick apart the negative things that we did today, but the object is we got to win. We'll fix the things, the bad things that happened today, but Ricky did a good job. Offensive line did a great job. And we just have to continue just to work hard and not, we didn't let the mistakes bother us today, and that's great.
3-3 right now, going on the road for 2 weeks. You put yourself in a pretty good situation. This team has played well on the road so far this year, and obviously see how we can play at home with the crowd behind.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, it was an up-and-down roller coaster for the fans, but like I said, we came away with a victory, and we can't ask for nothing better than that right now, just that W.
Pretty loud in here today.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They got up for our defense. That defense responded very well. They played a great game also.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff Blake down here. Larry, I'm going to send it back up to you. All right, Kenny, that'll wrap it up in the locker room. One quick note from Hokie Gajan, a good team effort. When you get a fake punt for a big first down, it results in a score. You get offense with Jeff Blake, 11 of 23 for 161 yards. And, of course, Ricky Williams runs wild with 144. All of that added up, it was just a good offense. And 8 sacks, 9 punts they forced. Good team effort.
Yeah, the offense had their moments today when they sputtered, but when it really counted, they were able just to march the ball down the field and really shove it down the Panthers' throat. And the special teams probably played as well today as they have at any time during the season. Chad Morton had the one muff punt. And they, at the end of the ball game, they did let Bates break out of there a little bit, but nothing that was costly. Other than that, I thought they did an excellent job covering.
And the best rushing defense since 1972, giving up only 10 yards rushing today. Back in 1972, I can't imagine it was 7 yards against the 49ers, but that's hard to believe.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, when you're an opposing running back, and you could kind of tell by the way the tempo was set early on in the ball game that, the coaches for Carolina and probably Tim Biakabatuka knew there's not going to be much running room in here. We're going to have to run a few plays just to keep them honest so that they just can't pin their ears back and rush us every down. But they knew it was going to be tough going up in the Briar Patch.
I'm looking forward to seeing you Saturday as we head toward the Briar Patch to the northeast in Atlanta, Georgia, in that Georgia Dome.
I'm looking forward to that. I hadn't been to the Dome yet.
All right. The executive producers of the New Orleans Saints Radio Network are Diane Newman and Craig Jacobus
on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Welcome again to the Point After Show. Buddy Diliberto at the finish line in Kenner on Joe Yenny Boulevard. It was reminiscent of the late 80s and the early 90s when defense was the signature of Saints football. Statistically, the Saints have been number one in the NFL in overall defense for about a month. But today, they gained some respect that might have been missing. Respect the defense earned. This one shouldn't have been as close as it was, but it wasn't over until late in the game that the Saints finally put away the Carolina Panthers. 8 sacks by the Saints. That gives them 27 in 6 games. 2 more by Leroy Glover, who now has 8 on the season, which is near the top of the NFL sack-wise. Kevin Mathis made a second-quarter interception where Mathis literally out-toughed the receiver for the football. And it was big, since one play before that, Carolina had a first down at the Saints' 10-yard line. Ricky Williams was all around today. Ricky was a franchise-type back today. 144 yards rushing, a half-back pass that was completed to the 2-yard line to Keith Poole that set up the Saints at the Carolina 2, and a fumble behind it a bad snap between the center and the quarterback messed it up one play later, but that didn't take away from the half-back pass completion. And then with the Saints clinging to a 10-6 lead early in the fourth quarter, Ricky Williams made a Hall of Fame type catch on the sidelines, even for a wide receiver, much less a running back. This one should be shown many times tonight and tomorrow on the local TV stations and on ESPN's national show. Ricky had a marvelous game, and certainly after the catch, let's mute the idea that Ricky Williams is not a good pass receiver. Give a tip of the hat to the Saints coaching staff, Jim Haslett and all, because right before Ricky's catch, the Saints caught Carolina flat-footed, went on a 4th and 1 from the Saints 35, and only a 10-6 lead. It was an obvious punting situation, but a short snap went to Fred McAfee, and 30 yards later, McAfee had a first down at the Carolina 25.